Oh, we're going live though.
Okay, we could just go live.
Gordon,
to tell you the truth, this is probably the fastest we've gone live since I walked in the store. I literally walked in the store like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, I could tell. I had to start it.
Hey, I got to get YouTube up real quick so I can get the chat.
That's fine.
Aw, you pay attention to the chat?
I do too.
I should. You know what? I'm gonna do it.
We actually get to see chat, so we get to respond to our fans.
We don't have fans. No one listens to us. But congratulations on the 20 that listened to you. Good job.
Yay.
It's 5 more than yours.
Exactly. This is all petty envy and jealousy right here.
But it's only 5 more.
Correct.
Well, but that means I got to take my shoe off to count it. So.
What's on Coach's upper lip? Says Josh Dunn.
Oh man. Okay. Just to let everybody know, I have never grown facial hair. Like literally, full-fledged tried it. Right. Like my wife before my wife, I couldn't grow it, and when I had my wife, she's like, no. And so I'm leaving next week for Canada for a full week to go fishing with my father. Yay me. And it was last week. I was like, you know what? Let's give it a full month. Let's just see what happens. And yeah, so far this is all that has happened in like 2 weeks. So who knows what happens in another week and a half? I don't know. I'm thinking about just going, just keeping this. This could be good.
Steroids.
This could be good right here. This could get me pedophile status, I think.
You mean like this?
Who knows? Maybe I'm just working up to the Halloween episode where I either A, go as Gordon, or B, go as Mark Tippett. I can get some salt and pepper in this thing for some Gordon action.
God.
And then just be in this face all the time.
Andrew Twa, let me on, he says in a comment on Facebook.
And
not in chat.
That's a really bad idea.
Holy shit, that's a super bad idea.
Hold on, I'll tell him to at least get in the YouTube chat first, and we'll talk, and we won't actually do it. They'll just get us another viewer.
We'll just... How many pages do we span this out to? Is it just ours or just...
No, it's on Minoc, it's on Crate, it's on XWing Central, and OCX. It's all the normals.
You hit the normal 3. I mean,
yeah.
I love
does Stay on Target even have a Facebook page?
Yes, and I love how it's never put on ours.
Oh,
all right.
No one ever comes to our site to advertise.
New OCX.
I don't need to sully my amazing
firebomb
listeners with your awful crap.
We're gonna firebomb the fuck out of your page.
Jesus Christ!
Yes, goals. Hold on, I gotta get my script.
Am I not part of the Stay on Target group? I can't put it on there.
That is a shame.
Gordon.
What? I don't. Yes, I do. Actually, I am in crap. They set me up. I just simply post stuff. How is that supposed to work?
Wait. It's a thing, and I've clicked it as a liked, but it's not something I can join. It's not something I can post on. I think only admins can post. Wait.
No, others post.
Let me try. Josh Dunn, if I fail, it's up to you. I bet you can. Or Tommy. Tommy could probably do it.
I feel like that should be the saying of our next shirt. We failed. Josh Dunn, help us.
We failed. Please, Josh Dunn.
Be the Dunn and Dunn shirt. Be the Dunn and Dunn shirt.
Oh, Franch is here? Oh, no, you did not.
You put Twa on and you add the tallest podcast record. Oh.
No, we would probably... No, if we want to get the tall... I mean, we already did it, right? When we had Tyler on. Tyler, Mark, you... Like... I think that covers most of it. It's a lot of tall shadow creations.
Added Andrew Bunn. Well, if we had Jeff Burling on that show,
record.
Easily.
All right.
French
Yeah,
is here.
France, prepare.
French is here.
Prepare yourself
Oh,
because of your intro.
I'm so excited.
They're now going to let us
makes-
have it. So
this makes everything
So much better.
yeah, I can't wait.
This makes it
I
so
can't
much
wait
better.
for my rant.
His actions, and I get to defend him when this was on him.
I don't think Gordon has a. He doesn't know what he's gotten into anymore.
No, I have no clue, and all
He
I
has
know is it's going to be
no
bad.
idea.
I
I
highly
know it's
recommend.
bad.
Chat. I need two. Chat. I need 2 T-shirts.
2 T-shirts.
If you are a valued listener, you know what shirts I have. I need 2 T-shirts.
Ooh, if they
Not
get it
2.
wrong, what happens?
Don't fucking type 2. Damn it, Tommy! No.
Wait, Coach, do you have a preview of the jersey? Can you put up? With you?
No, I don't. I just have the rendering,
Oh, okay.
which
that's
everyone
okay.
has seen. Like I didn't get a prototype. Like
Even French types too. He's already in.
Dude, who told me? Oh, fucking Tommy threw the joke up on the chat when I put the jerseys up. He's like, "Where's my special edition thing?" And I'm like, what?" And he's like, "Well, there's only one option." I was like, "Oh, I get it now." Almost made me go and make another jersey.
Tommy, you can't
But
tell
it
me you
didn't,
can't
no.
afford a T-shirt. You sell all your X-Wing merch. Don't lie to me.
Yeah, fuck you, Tommy. You can easily afford that jersey.
You got dice.
You made a jersey price off of like a set of dice. One set of your dice. Well, we've already reached our quota for Tommy being referenced more on the OCX Radio
Steven,
podcast.
why are we waiting to start? Every host is here. Because we feel like it, Steven. So quit backseat hosting.
You know what I love? Ever since Ryan's got on this podcast, he's getting a little more snippy every day.
Peanut gallery over there.
I'm bringing him over to my side.
I sold those a while ago. Lol.
Should have saved your money for the jersey.
You know what? You can go out. Oh, you know what? We're going to do this. We're going to do the simple calculation right now. How many beers do you need to drink in order to afford an OCX jersey?
Wait, you mean
5
not
times 100. Okay, that's not going to do it.
What is happening? What beers to
Nope.
drink? Would it be saving money
Well,
by not?
with the can deposit. If you turn in your can deposits. Oh man, that number's getting big.
I think it depends on the state. Some states don't do that.
Nope, not 10,000. Okay, so if you drink 1,000 beers, you have $50
By what date?
in most of the states.
No. By what date? June 30th, right?
What do you mean? Oh yeah, but June 30th. So
hold on.
New,
Wait a minute.
New Strava account. Fuck it, Chico.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Let's see.
12,
You need
13,
to drink
14,
exactly.
17, 18, 19. What? 1,000 divided by 19. That doesn't sound like a good number for anyone's health.
You need to drink 1,060 beers.
No.
Yeah.
You said it was 1,000 beers, right?
Well, that was rounded up. Now, exact amount. The jersey is $53.
Coach, we're gonna give people alcohol poisoning if they need to do it by the 30th.
So if you drink, okay, clear,
They would drink
1,060.
53 beers a day.
How many? Is it 53 beers a day?
Correct. That's more hours
Done.
than there are in a day.
That could be done.
That's death. I don't think that's how this is gonna work.
Well, okay, so let's divide it out. You drink a couple Cokes in the morning, a couple Mountain Dews in the afternoon, and then you drink like 15, 20 beers at night.
You will die from caffeine and
You
alcohol at
won't-
the same time.
You won't sleep, which gives you more time to drink beer to get your...
God. Josh, that makes a good point. That's even more than Andre the Giant used to consume. That's impressive.
53 beers a day for 20. I can always extend it, maybe.
Now, let's be real here.
That's my uncle's daily allotment.
All right, hold on. 53 beers divided by 6-ish for a 6-pack, right? And general cost for a 6-pack. I feel like you could just not save, like, you would end up paying more to get those to earn that up than you would buying all those beers.
I feel like I should do something stupid where if you can at least pay for half of your jersey in beer cans, show me the picture, I'll fucking pay for the rest of the half. But I'm not going to do that because it's dumb. There you go. You can drink 500 beers in
Glaive Leader.
2.5 weeks, and then $25 and you're done. 53 is my jersey number, so I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, that's what I was responding to. Like, oh no.
No, the jersey is going to be awesome.
So, topic lineup for today.
I posted on Uncle Mark's fan club page. OCX live tonight. No topic, no guest, no problem.
I would like to bring up a discussion topic on like how much emphasis or enthusiasm is in X-Wing on in that last month before like, one, there's new ships coming out. Two, the new points are coming out on the 26th.
Yeah.
Like, what's everybody's enthusiasm level for X-Wing right now?
Yeah. Oh, and we should go over the stalling versus fortressing discussion that's been coming up recently.
We can do that.
And what's going on with Minox going? There are circumstances, and we have to change our name. Why? Because they don't have legs?
Actually, I think that's going to be a super deep conversation. Like, what is Minox not being Minox anymore going to do to Minox? I think it's going to have a bigger impact than they think.
They've
already got all that swag that they've already put out.
I have an actual written statement because he couldn't be on tonight from Chico about his stance on the stalling and fortressing discussion. He wrote a page.
Isn't his wife gone for like the next 3 months?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure like this is that area where he just sits alone in his room with his underwear on and like eating marshmallows and just watching OCX radio instead of contributing.
Apparently he has a crazy day tomorrow, so he doesn't have time to jump on discuss. So, but he actually, like, it's an impressive written thing here. Granted, it's 1 page, but it's like his response to what's been going on. So,
wow, like, geez, that's okay. He's taking this legit then. All right.
I mean, it's apparently, according to Chris Allen as well, who's mentioned it, it's been a big topic amongst basically the community, the judge community that's helped create the unofficial rules, right? So it has to be like they are part of the people who have that discussion be a big deal.
Well, there's no one else better to bring it to the public's knowledge than the OCX Radio Podcast.
Yeah. Boom Owl's in the chat. It's Chris Apple.
Boom Owl! Boom Owl! Ah!
He's the guy who started our OCX as the second best podcast.
He is my hero. Like, did I get to actually tell you the time I met Boom Owl?
Probably, but I forget.
Maybe we'll save this for the show. It was both awkward for me and probably for him. Then it ended awkward-ish, but on a good awkward. It was fun. It was awesome.
What was more awkward, the interaction with Boom Owl or the interaction with Phil Horney?
Oh no, Phil was easy.
Okay.
Like that was. It was probably more awkward for Phil because, like, I know who he was, and he didn't know who I was. So I figured the onus is on him. This was the reverse. Like, I didn't know that he was Booma. Like, he introduced me. He's like, "Hey, I'm Chris." I'm like, "Oh, I'm Coach." He's like, "I know." I'm like, "Oh shit." Damn it. Is he a Patreon? Do I talk to him all the time? It's like I went down the list of like, oh god. And this was like is this first or second Worlds? I think it was first Worlds where we were only out there for like a couple of months. And he's like, "No, I'm Boom Owl." And it was just like, "Oh my god, you are my savior." I gave him the biggest hug. It was awesome. It was fantastic.
All right. I'm gonna close up blinds, and I don't know if we want to start.
Okay, Mark, are you ready? Gordon, are you ready?
Not yet.
Now, which ready are we ready for?
Well, we're not doing this until Gordon's ready.
Yeah,
okay.
let me go get some bourbon since evidently I'm gonna need it.
He's gonna
I'll be
need
right
some
back
bourbon
myself.
for this one. Steven, you don't decide when the show starts. I decide when the show starts.
Is everybody ready?
Mm.
Besides Mark, wait. I mean, everyone in the chat.
Gordon needs bourbon.
Just like good old Triple
Speaking
H.
of-
I said, are you ready?
Yeah, let's hear it, chat. Let's hear it. I need caps. All caps. I gotta make sure okay, I'm power plugged in. Everything's good. All right, I need the shirts. Did I get the shirts?
You didn't.
Nobody gave shirts. I'm gonna have to pick the shirts out then.
Okay.
Do you need timestamps?
Probably.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
I have no idea what time we started.
I can tell you how far along we are. We are about 16 minutes in.
16 minutes in would have been 8.
So probably put down 17 minutes in because coach coming back and us starting.
How's that, huh?
Perfect. Boom
The
owls in.
old-
And we got
the
the
old
shirt.
Bluegrass and the Liberty Squadron.
Oh boy.
If Florida Man is watching, I am going to receive your Florida Man T-shirt. So I know I didn't put myself into the raffle winnings, but I don't care. I want your T-shirt.
And,
Coach, we have to drink with those guys at some
Yes, I heard your episode. That little tidbit. I lived in Florida for 2 years. Yes.
Just
Yes on everything. I almost feel like every American should go live in Florida for a year just to appreciate what they have.
It's okay. I'm out.
It's fucking batshit crazy down there all the time. All the time.
All right, probably 18 minutes.
Hey, by the way, Gordon. Yes?
Gordon, you better be there. We're going to start the intro soon.
I'm actually sending Gordon a webcam. I have two
really?
extras. And I'm sick of seeing because the new Fallout game is like very popular apparently or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so every time I see a Fallout thing on Facebook or on the internet or wherever, all I can think of is Gordon. And I'm like, I don't think Gordon plays Fallout. Unless he does. But
We'll
either
find
way.
out when he gets back. Now we gotta wait for Gordon. Such the worst.
He is the worst. This is actually, this might be like he's probably actually there. He's just waiting to see how long we will go before he's actually on.
Whatever it is I missed, I'm ready for my crucifixion / roast.
It doesn't fucking take that long to pour bourbon.
No. Okay, hey, motherfucker.
Oh, jeez.
My wife said, hey, I got to talk to you. Thanks for asking.
We have another question. Do you actually play Fallout? Okay.
You do actually play Fallout. Okay.
Coach,
Because all I can think of now over the last year and a half, everything Fallout, I think of Gordon. Because that stupid guy you have as your photo. I'm sending you a webcam.
I'm not turning it on.
Yeah.
I knew that was happening.
Okay, I'm going to send you a new laptop. I'm going to go full on Dion and send you a full laptop, but I have all the access rights to it. Hey, first of all, before we start, huge shout out to Dion. I want to clear some air. I don't know if anyone's like still thinking like there's beef between Luke and OCX and Dion. There's not. I know he started out as OCX pregame painting, which was awesome. He wanted to do it. We wanted him to do it. Like always, Dion saw the possibilities there for more money, which awesome, good for him. And he straight up stole them. But there's no way OCX was going to buy him a brand new fucking computer, which he drove to Luke's house and presented it to him, and that was pretty awesome. So kudos to Luke and Dion both for yay.
I wish my show was good enough to be taken over by Gold Squadron Podcast. I'd love a new computer too.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not saying he hasn't asked us, but you know what?
Jeez.
I don't believe you.
He hasn't.
Thank you, Ryan, because I was about to say no.
You.
No, he has not.
You all know how to sold out just like that.
Unless he wants to grab a different audience somewhere out of nowhere. Like, oh yeah, wait, I need the drunk people now. I don't think that's ever happened.
Oh, the day Dion calls me and says, "Hey, what's the rights to OCX radio cost?" I'm like, "Oh boy." No, that's
Up the
not
price. Up.
All right, Mark. I think you can start the timestamps now.
All right. Actual time 21 minutes in,
Okay.
which will be 8:57.
Okay, duly noted.
I think Mark technically has to start at this point.
Switch to targeting computer. Whoop, 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 whoop.
Coach,
God.
did you already? Did he freeze?
Can we reach time? Can you start over?
Oh, we will.
Yeah,
Coach.
because I'm already liking what I'm hearing. That's great.
God damn it! Why couldn't it go on the first try?
Oh,
But
Damn
no,
it,
you
Coach.
haven't given away anything yet. This is going to be good.
Oh.
Switch to targeting computer. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Oh my god.
It's only gonna get better.
Oh, I bet. I'm looking forward to this now. Until you start pissing me off. But up
I
until
don't
that,
know if that'll happen. Oh,
Okay,
Coach is
good.
typing. I wonder. Oh, wait.
that'll
Let's
be-
see.
did he plug his computer in?
Oh, his computer just froze. All right.
Maybe Dion can buy him a new one. Ah!
Start. King. Jeez. All right. Well, Coach got disable power regulator. Guess while we're waiting, what's the beer or drink of taste tonight for everyone?
Elijah
I'm
Craig,
having the
small
original
batch.
Big Brother hard root beer.
And what you got, Gordon?
Elijah Craig, small batch.
Okay. I'm trying a. What is that?
You are not prepared.
Oh, okay. I'm trying out a variety pack from this company called Terrapin Beer from Georgia, I think. I have Senior Crunkles is apparently the name. So, Coach said he's got to restart. Give him a sec. Oh, worst timing. So, Gordon,
So Ryan,
when you, because I don't know if we're going to go over specifically your recent trial that you got second in, but I recall during the cast that, yeah, the decision helped for your bid to go to seismic charge, but how, like, so have you used or tried or at least seen enough games of 2 Jedi, 2 Torrents before to kind of use that bomber as the same thing, like blocker-wise and health-wise?
okay. Your question got lost in there somewhere. Rephrase that.
how did you utilize your scimitar bomber with just a seismic charge?
Oh, he was always the lead bomber.
That makes sense.
The two were together, but the thinking was, I want him out front. He'll be the one closest to a rock if he gets near it. You can leverage the one further away with barrage rockets and still shut down the range 3 bonus, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this was a first because normally I'd keep them together, and I found because I wanted to maybe potentially drop a bomb where the seismic would hit a rock. I ended up splitting the bombers. And it normally never occurred to me to do that before, but I found in a couple of matches I fanned them out so that one could actually threaten the rock. And what it did every single time was act as a form of control. And instead of them like selling out to go murder a ship that was left out to dry that I had done, they steered clear of it, which I found interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it's not exactly a desirable target. It's not even applying too much firepower, but it's like the last bit of 2 dice firepower that can sometimes punch through.
Yeah.
Because all tokens have been spent on the bigger shots.
Josh, I ran Vader with FCS and Afterburners, Sunter with Predator, a Barrage Rocket Scimitar, and a Seismic Scimitar. Because I had noticed on the show I talked about how I had noticed Morgan Reed had won a trial by running a souped up Sunter where he could put shield on him, but then the result was he took just 2 naked scimitars.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to do that. I don't have enough confidence in my Sunter play, so I split the difference and I went, well, if the key isn't necessarily the fact that they're both barrage rocket scimitars, the fact that they're just a ship that may not necessarily get deleted on the first pass. And then, ironically enough, it reminded me, Ryan, of the 2 Jedi 2 Torrents, and I went, in that sense, why not? Why won't that work? That's an archetype that works, 2 Jedi's 2 Torrents.
Mm-hmm.
This is basically the Imperial version of that. You're just throwing those guys in there to get in the way.
Yeah,
and they're not going to get one shot. They're not going to die. And I was very tempted to do that. And I go, no, I still want to get some utility out of these guys. And then that's when I compromised on the seismic. And I thought, and then it still puts me at 197, which is fine. I'm not trying to dive into a super deep bid, but I suspect this will help me against some lists. And sure enough, I faced a couple Anakin, Mace, whatever,
2 Torrents, which
arc lists, and those guys came in. Each of those lists came in at 198, and the reason I won those matches is because I was at 197.
Yeah, 198 is a common endpoint for Jedi lists right now. So being 197 is actually pretty helpful for because the big thing with Imperials right now, Soontir and Vader are infinitely better. They're obviously really good because they're both I6 combined, right? There's very few or any. No, First Order has Quick Draw at Midnight, but Midnight doesn't do much right now. But there's very few factions right now that have the capability of putting 2 I6 ships on the board that both have the repositioning and threatening ace capability that those have. And to leverage that even further, you want them to have... You don't need a massively strong bid unless you're running Soontir Vader Duchess or Soontir Vader Vermeil. But when you're running the Soontir Vader 2 bombers, in helping to deal with Anakin and Mace, that is actually a pretty good blocker if necessary. You can utilize that 197 to beat most 2 Jedi 2 Torrent lists.
Right. The latest one, though, that I think is probably better, that I would probably prefer to run instead of 2 Jedis, 2 Torrents now, is the one that Chris Allen won with in the Vassal League or whatever Ricky's Aces League was.
Yay, he's back.
Please make a
Fucking
note.
stupid.
This wasn't an Uncle Mark issue.
Yeti, why can't I hear anyone?
We hear you.
Speakers. Save.
Did you see that list, Ryan? It was I think it was a 7B Anakin, 2 arcs, and a torrent, and it comes in at 180.
Oh, yeah,
and it comes in at like 185 or something.
Yeah, there's a lot of room because I remember seeing Travis play it in
There
Vassal,
we go.
and in Vassal he was trying it with a little more beefed up Anakin that had the like red maneuver droid, basically pattern analyzer droid with
Right.
2 charges plus afterburners.
Right.
So I think, like, I don't remember what the final total is, but yeah, you can do 2 arcs, a torrent, and Anakin, and still have some room to play, whether it's bid or a couple tools.
Yeah, to me, I think it's just go with that. Just guarantee you've got the bid, because Anakin really does want to move afterwards, and
Sure.
it's still effective, right? Because those other ships aren't going away anytime soon.
That and the arcs take up space.
Yeah,
Like, just if you want to block off an area, you can just say, like, if you go past me, you're either going to be in my arc range 1 if you don't go fast enough, or you're behind me and you probably are trying to run, and I still have rear arcs. So
yeah, that's the thing. I don't remember if the R2 Astromech was on there or not. If the R2 Astromech is on there and you can still have an insane bid, then it's even better because now you're points vaulting.
yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if
Back
he
up.
had the R2 astromech.
And I don't remember him having the R2 because I think he was super afraid of a handbrake Han. And so he just went for a huge bid. But right, the list that Dunn runs there is unless you have reason to dive lower than whatever that comes out to, that's the list to go with.
I mean,
All
you're
right, nerds.
you're still at a 3-point bid with R2 and afterburners, Anakin. So it's not bad. You can drop the afterburners and go 9 points. Bid 191. All right. Anyway, back to our regularly scheduled.
I can see why Ryan gets on all these guest spots and all these podcasts. I can see why.
Because he knows about X-Wing, Coach?
Oh no! Did he freeze again?
He did.
Oh
Not-
boy!
If you give me the part, I swear I will do it as if I was one of the.
But it's not as good.
Oh, all right.
Am I frozen? Yes or no?
Oh, you're unfroze. Good job. Oh,
Oh,
Jesus.
Quick,
Jesus.
Get this out now before you lock up again. Just
Please.
go.
Right. Timestamps.
Timestamp. We're at 9:07.
908. 908.
9:08.
Okay.
All right.
Ready?
Start.
Ready.
Over.
Switch to targeting computer.
Stabilize your rear deflectors. Watch out for enemy fighters.
They're coming in. 3 marks at 210. No good. I can't maneuver.
Stay on target.
We're too close.
Stay on target.
I have you now.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Stay On Topic, a podcast to bring the X-Wing community together by reminding everyone to stay the fuck out of my damn intro, you nerf herders!
Stay on topic.
All pilots report in!
Oh, stay on topic.
This is the Ace of Legend, Ryan Ontopsky reporting in.
This is grumpy old Uncle Mark reporting in.
And this is permanent OCX host Gordon the Berg, and I couldn't be happier to be here. That was great.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the OCX Radio Podcast. My name is Aaron the Coach Kroll, and man, don't you dare try to outdo an intro better than we can.
We
outdo an intro.
concede. We concede. We concede. We are not worthy. And I got to be honest. I was getting myself ready for a fight. I was going to reach through the internet and bitch slap you, and that was fantastic. Thank you for doing that. I'm very proud of you guys. That was excellent.
Coach,
We just recorded your new intro.
Yeah, we're going to steal that. We're just going to use that every month. 2
I
months.
was going to say,
When do we record? Twice a year? There we go.
but originally it was, all right, I'm going to take the actual when you start talking intro and make it into something, and reminding everyone to stay on target, and then like we represent the, and you do the competitive aspects of X-Wing, like the drunken aspect of X-Wing and all that stuff. Coach just went full aggressive on that one. It went, stay the hell away from that, and then wanted to add all the sound effects because Uncle Mark is Uncle Mark.
I was going to take it to another level, baby.
Oh yeah.
I was like, why can't we do the movie quotes? Mark, fucking internet air high five to you, buddy.
Yeah. Perfect.
You were dead on.
I wish you'd stuck with the whoop 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 instead of the.
Oh, did you send me the script?
Yeah. Yeah, he said whoop whoop whoop.
That would have been better.
Whoop, whoop. Gordon was like, "Oh, I'm in now. I want to see the rest of this."
The original idea was just have Mark say "doop doop doop" and then have him do the pew 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 pew. No,
honest to God, Coach, I didn't see the notes until like 8 o'clock, and I'm going, "Where the hell am I going?" Okay. Let's see. I think I've got that on this phone, and I know I have that on that phone. Okay, we can make this happen.
Soundboard, the master, the mixed master.
Oh my! Well, ladies and gentlemen, again, welcome to the 06 Radio Podcast Show.
This
if
is the
you're
one
here,
I like
not. What are we listening to?
There you go.
That was pretty good. Again, welcome to the 06 Radio Podcast Show. If you're here for super serious shit, then you've took a wrong turn. But no, we talk about serious shit on this sometimes. We're going to talk about serious shit tonight. But we just had to, because we have Gordon, the one, the only, the worst, on the show tonight. He was going to talk some smack against us, but he was unprepared.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I was away and you were giving me a hard time saying it doesn't take you that long to prepare bourbon, and I was talking to my wife, I'm like, if you hear some screaming, sweetie, it's okay. I've just got to smack some noobs around over the internet, but it's going to be okay.
Instead, joyous laughter.
Insta joy.
And
frivolity.
Frivolity. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to... God, how many times have I said that? Probably 3 or 4 times. Well, I'm going to welcome you back again, because some people forget that they've been on the show, that they think they haven't been on the show, so I have to welcome them back. So, you know. Anyway, I'm going to straight up say that I am so unprepared for tonight that I think Ryan Ontopsky, the ace of OCX Ace of Legend, is going to steer this ship a little bit.
Okay.
Basically, now good luck, because you have 2 hosts on the show tonight.
It's okay.
I forgot that I deemed Gordon Berg basically a host of the OCX Radio Podcast. Now, when I say host, that is different than co-host. There are 2 different hierarchies here. Hosts are just supposed to keep the show going, keep it fun, keep it lively, but also it comes with a very good benefits package. You can do whatever you want.
Right. And part of that is if I even bother to show up.
Right. You know, if he just comes in out of nowhere and be like, nope, fuck that. That's a bad topic. We're going to move on to this. He can do that because he is a deemed member of a host.
No, I mean even just be present, period.
Oh.
Ryan,
What?
shall I call Dion?
Yes, you probably should call Dion.
Why am I calling Dion?
Because why not have more hosts on the show?
Oh, God, the host show?
The host show? Oh, my God. That would be bad. That would be bad. We talked about Ricky being on the show. Ooh.
Think about all the egos involved there.
Thank God Ricky doesn't listen to the show. That's all I got to say. Or watch the show. If anything, he should watch the show.
I'd be You know,
And
what'd be really
see, I can't even get it.
Who
Go
knew
ahead.
Stay on Target actually listened to us?
Gordon, what were you going to say?
All I was going to say is there isn't room for that many egos, and at least I am aware enough to know to shut up as long as Coach is present.
That's true.
So if we ever do this host show, it'd be an interesting survey to do beforehand, only given out to the hosts, to ask them, check off all the other podcasts you listen to, and see only amongst the hosts who listens to who.
I feel like that would have to be an internal poll where they can't see the results.
Correct. It would have to be someone like me or Uncle Mark once we actually host the show to the actual host to see.
You got to swear that information never gets out.
Oh, no problem.
No, only after the show can that information get out.
Yeah.
No, Dion would probably make us sign a waiver and say we can't do it.
Oh,
and the Minox would say we get a cease and desist order, so we have to change the name.
The day I have to sign an NDA for Gold Squadron podcasts is the day I know I made it.
Speaking of which, transitioning our way over, the talk about the IP policy that has been out for longer than it's been discussed. Minox,
which is why I don't think it's a big deal. I
agree, but it sounds like Ryan Farmer and Dioon have plans to do more things with FFG and potentially, Lucas LFL in general, to the point where they want to make sure they got their asses covered, essentially, in case something does come up, so that there's no issues going forward. Which I don't fault them for. So
let's roll this back a little bit. So this has been in the public for a very long time. Like I remember almost a year and a half ago that this came up and everyone freaked out about, third party shit and alt art cards and Patreons and stuff like that. Now at that time it wasn't as extensive as it was, right? They added things to it. Right?
Yeah, it sounds like this, whatever the current one that we see that was done end of the recent March, has included stuff such as Vassal, other apps for potential list building, TTS, Tabletop Simulator, basically anything that could virtually allow you to do stuff outside of what they have already built or created, right? So now that they have their own app, there's potential concerns that they might be leery about people who make money off of an app that's based off of their game.
Yeah.
And that might be more of a LFL thing than an FFG thing.
I guarantee you it's an LFL thing.
So
everything FFG is LFL.
Sure.
Let's get that right through. Like LFL is the one dictating this whole thing. I can guarantee you it came from the top down on the inclusion of, it literally nailed just about everything we've been saying, fuck, they ain't going to care about. They nailed it. They point blank said Vassal. I don't think they said TTS, but Vassal-ish. And to tell you the truth, I'm just going to say my 2 cents. I think it is, it's not the sky falling, but it is. We got to watch our asses a little bit. Like,
do you think so? Look, they worded it in such a way as to say, we love what you guys are doing, you content creators. Just be aware, legally, these are the things that there could be an issue about.
Yeah,
the burden is still on Asmodee to be the ones, whether they want to enforce it or not. And so they talked about all the topics that could come up. And like you said, it hit every single topic about what's already out there.
Yep.
And since you also said that this has been out for a year, have you seen Asmodee send any cease and desist to anybody? And the answer so far has been no. So like what I said on my show, I tend to lean towards this is there to protect themselves in case one of these content creators just goes down a path that they don't like from a PR perspective.
But see, this is my interesting take on that. Is LFL told Asmodee, it's up to you. right? So now Asmodee is going, oh shit. Usually, like, nobody cared about X-Wing miniatures. We could almost get away with anything we wanted to. Now it's on us. If we fuck up, LFL is going to sue the fuck out of us. See,
look, no.
there's a little extra pressure there, but I still agree with you, Gordon.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be, oh my God, the Ass of Legend is not going to be playable.
No, exactly. All policies are meant as a cover your ass.
Yeah.
Okay. And any company would be stupid not to get free advertising, which is basically what content creation is.
And to tell you the truth, every player, I'm sorry, if you're going to one of these major tournaments where Asmodee, aka FFG, is going to be paying attention, if you don't have your backup card, that's on you, man. Like,
that's probably good advice, because they used to be pretty strict about that, right? Remember when if you were going to be on the stream, it had to be strictly FFG product, and they would swap out your tokens and range rulers, whatever, if it was all third party. And you'll notice in the past couple worlds, they've relaxed that. It wouldn't surprise me if they go back to that.
I don't think they're going to relax it this time. I really don't think so.
I mean, so that's something I think that we've all tried to remind, and I think it's been in some tournament regulation things that, like, you can have alt-art things, but make sure you have the original with you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's I think that's both for your opponent, who may be uncomfortable with your other alternative.
Wait, interjection. Pro tip.
All right,
you, Chris Allen, your goddamn pro tips.
Okay, so speculation time then. What is it that you think the Minox are going to do on an interactive level with FFG to the point that it warrants a rebranding of fan-created content so that there's no legal issues?
Okay, so another backup. Hold on, another backup. For those of you who don't know, the Minox Squadron podcasts are basically being forced to change their name.
They are not being forced to change it. This is voluntary. If you listen to the latest Minox, Farmer talks about it at the start of the show.
Check off Minox for me.
Yeah,
exactly.
No, it's not forced. It's them being proactive about something that could happen. And making sure that stuff going forward that they want to do. For example, they took a really big step recently, and some people saw it and kind of passed over it, but they just had a really cool media interaction and playthrough with a YouTube channel called Up, Up, Down, Down, which is hosted by a couple of WWE superstars. Xavier Woods, Tyler Breeze were the two people, and Xavier Woods that's his main channel. He's now got like the record for like the biggest YouTube gaming celebrity channel. He's got 2 million subscribers now. He's got a lot of people that
he should have had OTX on there.
So like they
fail on your part, boys.
Yeah. The reaching out aspect, like in trying to reach other audiences, that's huge. And to make sure that the wider audiences that they reach, that they don't overstep and become more noticeable, and then it's an issue because make more money or become more noticeable, and being proactive about it is probably better for them, especially for how big, and Gold Squadron too, right? How much bigger can Dion get before he probably already is big enough to really consider, like, okay, what do I need to make sure I don't do, or what do I need to build up at this point to make sure it becomes a roadblock, right? It's not a full showstopper, but there could be roadblocks put in play.
Yeah, Dion has the equal amount of concerns, because if it's not obvious, if you haven't read between the lines, because he's basically flat out said it, it is his intention to do this full time and to make a living off of this. But he's also said he's just like one thing away. Like X-Wing in and of itself is not enough. So he's got other irons in the fire to figure out how to sustain this as a full-time job.
Mm-hmm.
Now, everyone knows that I'm a big proponent of do something and ask forgiveness later.
Legally, that's a problem.
Well, I mean...
Is that your plan on getting elected?
Pretty much.
I mean, Most
I
of our
pulled-
likeys are kind of in that realm anyway. So
Just to let everybody know, just give everybody a heads up that I am not on the ballot this year for Iowa congressman. I had to pull it. I had to pull it. My wife said no. She says maybe in another 4 years, maybe, but she.
Honey, can I be president?
Oh, that did come up, and she's like, "Fuck no." She's like, "I do not want to be first lady," and I was like, "You would make a great first lady." She's like, "I don't want to be." I was like, "That's why you'd be a good one," and she's like, "No." We could barely keep our 4 and 7-year-old in line, let alone the entire country.
Can you imagine the NSA listening on that conversation you had with her in your house, just laughing their asses off? Saying, they're doing a hypothetical. What if she was the first lady conversation? Oh, the balls on that guy.
The NSA is like, yeah, baby, another 4 more years without Kroll being president of the United States.
Jesus.
Polling said I would have been too young, so apparently I have to be 40 plus, which is only in 4 more years. So
okay. Why is that? I
don't
understand why people have to be 40 or more. Why can't it be 30 or 35?
It's like it. Well, you can be.
The senators and the representatives
nomination. It wasn't a legal thing, Ryan.
Likely. Yeah. No. Still.
I could be president right now. I mean, there's no reason I shouldn't be, but. No,
you helped build a great community, Coach. That's a good mark on you.
You know, I pulled people from everywhere.
You raised $1,000
and conservatives.
I know,
all here tonight. And
I'm as liberal as they come, and I am your friend. I don't understand.
You know, because we connect.
We do.
There might be a secret sauce in there somewhere.
Yeah, alcohol.
Just letting everyone know, when you see an immediate purge of the OCX YouTube, then that means I'm serious. And if CNN comes up to you guys, I am a very outstanding, responsible adult.
So, Uncle Mark, can you explain to us what happened on episode 100?
Plead the fifth.
For a second there, I thought you were going third person. I'm like, what the hell? Oh, you're reading chat.
You know what? I can actually plead the fifth because I don't even remember what happened on the 100th episode. Exactly. Anyway, wow, that took a weird tangent. Anyway, I wanted to get back to
IP.
Yeah. So the Minox, this is a big step for Minox because they're Minox. Like that hit me the other day really hard. Like, okay, what if I got hit with that same thing? Like, for some reason, OCX was a part of Star Wars canon, and they're like, cease and desist, and I'd be like, fuck you. Well, first of all,
it's not only that. I think if we get hit, it's Patreon related, right? Because they did mention Patreon specifically.
Yes, they did. Well. Oh, the trap. The fucking trap. First of all, kudos to you, FFG. You are a sleuth among sleuths on the... hey, you want a press badge? You have to sign up your Patreon account on your submittal page.
It did say if applicable, which probably means if you have it, you have to write it down. Yeah, no,
I conveniently forgot what it was.
As soon as I saw that, I was like, I made the meme in my head, and I had to build it out later.
It was a great meme.
Yeah, it was great. It was so good. Matt Holland commented, and he was like, I gotta find this because this is a really good quote because he thought it was moderately serious. I'm like, no, it's fine. It's just a joke.
It was even better than my meme of putting Soonter Fell on what needs to be added to Worlds. I didn't add that, by the way, because we're serious about this stuff.
Yeah, Matt Holland. Geez, guys, I have Google. We just need to make sure anyone that wants to be official at Worlds is working within the rules. I was like, definitely not serious meme. We understand. He's like, cool. I'd hope we just wasn't sure.
All right. I'm gonna
concerned.
We're gonna put a pin in this. We need to get Matt Holland on the show.
That'd be good.
We need to get Matt Holland on the show.
How your emails
gone on a podcast before?
We've had Wade. I have basically been told that there's no fucking way in hell you're gonna get Frank, Alex, or Max on your show.
I was about to ask, how are those emails going, Coach?
Yeah, I've been given the runaround quite a bit, and then
Have you been given the email that's just this?
yeah, no, I was told by my inside source that there's no fucking way they're gonna go A, on a live show, B, on your show, and C, it's just not happening.
Hey, congratulations. They know about you.
Yeah, you know what? I took that as a huge thank you very much. Apparently, FFG, some stupid fucking intern listens to our show, and
What
he's
if
like,
Wade? What if Wade listens? He's a cool guy.
I know Wade listens.
There you go.
I'm not saying that's my inside source. And nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Know what I mean? Know what I mean? Anyway,
Say no more.
no, yeah.
Speaking of which, he was knighted.
What?
Yes,
Yes, he was.
Michael Palin.
Yes, he was. He was knighted.
Not to get him confused with Eric Idle, but
Or John Cleese.
Yes,
or any of them. I understand.
Don't
but
get him mixed up with John Cleese. Apparently, he's in trouble these days. So, with the social media. Anyway, whatever. We're not talking about that. We're talking about IPs. And so, back on the subject of Minox volunteering to change their name.
Mm-hmm. It's either going to be the Fly Better podcast or the Monarch podcast because it sounds close enough to Minoc. And their logo is going to be a myna, which is a very annoying and evasive bird, which is apparently close enough to a real life Minoc.
I think
You
it
know-
should be called the Fly Better podcast.
Guys, yeah, personally, just burn it. If you're going to change it, burn it all down. Burn it all down.
You can't. You got a
Start
fan
new.
base. You
Well,
gotta,
see, that's that. Okay, that's my topic of my subject of topic. Yes, we're gonna go with that. Staying on topic. Are they going to suffer from the rebranding or not?
No.
I think their Facebook page. I assume you can just edit name because but crates do it all the time. Whatever. So you can edit name. No
Here's
problem.
why, Coach.
Everyone stays there.
Let me summarize this for you. You are preaching to the choir. You do not have to make an effort to try to get your listeners. They are invested. No, that audience isn't leaving.
No, not at all.
So it doesn't really matter what they call themselves.
Okay.
And if anything, if what we've already seen from them partnering with Up, Down, Down is just a step and the tip of the iceberg in the direction Farmer is making it sound like they want to go in terms of reaching out, I think everyone should actually be pretty excited that they're being proactive about this. It's a change. It feels weird that we're going to have to call them something else other than Minox.
We're not. We're not.
Oh, yeah. We're always still going to say Minox. Like it's just going to be like, oh, that name, but it was a Minox.
Like, I'm sorry. I still call it PS, pilot skill. I don't fucking do
Exactly,
with
right?
this
Green
shit.
move. What? No.
Green. It's a green.
Target lock.
So, yeah, no. Old habits die hard.
I
Normal
would
thing.
say if they are moving in that direction and they've got some inside track with FFG and that's what they're doing, I could not pick 2 or 3 or 4 better people than Ryan D, that one guy that wins all the time.
Dallas.
Just kidding, Dallas. I know his name.
Andrew Seeley.
And Andrew's
Big
my
time.
favorite. Andrew's my favorite.
You know what
Minox
it
of all
sounds like
time.
they're doing? It sounds like they may be filling the void a little bit when it comes to X-Wing specific content that Team Covenant used to fill the role for.
There you go.
Team
Speaking of-
Covenant. When X-Wing started, who was our go-to? Right?
Oh,
This
it's
all
Team
started
Covenant.
with Team Covenant.
All the time.
But
all the time.
they've got a store to run. They've got other product to sell. They're obviously card playing fanboys, so they're all in on the Keyforge and whatnot and Destiny. Which means they don't have as much time for X-Wing, whereas you've got a couple people saying, man, we will do all the X-Wing you could ever dream of if you let us have that position.
Well, wouldn't you
So
say
wh-
Gold
so why
Squad
not?
has already done that?
No, Gold Squadron's whole. They're. First of all, before Gordon cut me off, I want to also say that Steven Gonzalez is
Yep.
also one of my favorite Minox. Or my Minarchs. No, fuck that. Nope. Okay, from now on the OSX Radio podcast and going forth in all Facebook and all manners, they are the My Narcs. Because they're narking on all of us.
Why don't we just change the name every week? No one will ever really
know.
Let's
do that.
Oh, you mean a rotating bit of incompetence? No. Where have we heard that before, Mark?
Gordon, it's like you've already influenced us. Good job. Thank you.
I like your interpretation better, Ryan, as opposed to Mark's like, seriously? That was a bit? Okay.
All right. So this week, This week
my
is
narcs.
My MY Narcs, NARCS, apostrophe S, if we're going to be grammatically correct.
Just put a space between that. My narcs.
My Narcs.
Ouch, my narcs.
Way to sell out, boys. Way to give in to the mouse. Resistance, baby. Resistance.
Is futile.
Damn it, I already have the jerseys made. I would have made a fist.
Oh, God.
Yum nub. That would have been great.
Hey, Ryan.
What?
Segue us, buddy.
I was about to.
Go
I was going to say.
You don't need me.
Speaking of the resistance and actual X-Wing.
Oh, shit, yes.
Proud of you.
Oh, I get an assist on that one, right?
It'd be awesome if I had enough money to just own a Segway, and every time I made a Segway, just rode it across the screen. But anyway,
I'm pretty sure Patrick can make that happen. Just like have.
Oh yeah,
have just Ryan on a Segway. It could be the classic Star Wars wipe, and we just wipe it across.
So we got to start taking notes because Jacob in the chat has already given us a couple good my knock names that we can do. We got we got my socks. We got Mayo Knox.
Mayo, no, fuck that.
No, we got to save it.
Done. They are the Mayo socks.
Oh, jeez.
The Mayo socks. That's it. The Mayo socks.
All right.
Oh my God, fits.
Back to the Segway.
Sorry.
Speaking of actual X-Wing, as we wind down and get ourselves closer and closer to Wave 4 release, which was unfortunately delayed, and the points change, which the stream is June 25th, but there's conflicting thoughts that it may only preview it and not give us the whole points. But as
they're
that
not
time,
going to give us any.
You think they're just going to talk?
Correct.
No, I don't like that. Don't talk like that.
Okay. My bad.
No, it's all right. But what are people doing? Are you taking your break from X-Wing? Are you trying different things? Are you kind of because it's in a weird spot. We're expecting new things, and it's also to the point where it's the end of hyperspace trials. There's not many system opens or anything nearby coming up. It's this weird, actual almost.
Here's why: when the meta
period
is solved or fixed, or you have the dominant gatekeeper list, and that's all that keeps showing up, that kills activity. People then get distracted, and the only thing that saves you is either a wave release or a points change. And the very unfortunate thing about this is that they're merging those two events together as one event when it could be separate to get us excited about meta shakeups. The points change doesn't have to happen or coincide with the wave release, and yet it is. And the result is this prolonged apathy.
Correct. But so I'm kind of the opinion right now, wave releases have done less to the meta overall. The biggest thing is because especially at this point is the additional ships to hyperspace. I don't know if we're going to see this is the first time where we start to see some ships rotated out.
They better,
because it's getting saturated quick to just feel like a mini extended. It doesn't feel like a different enough format for me to care.
But I asked that question at Adepticon, and they said it is our intention to always keep it a limited format. So the proof is on the. So they need to prove that. Yeah,
to me, limited is six-ish ships per faction. Sounds about right.
Let's hope their definition is what? There's 2 ships less in extended versus or
Like,
hyperspace.
yeah,
And
that's-
you're like, oh, please.
Like, no, like they've already shown that every upgrade is going to eventually become available to hyperspace. It seems to be only ship selection, which is another thing, right? They're not limiting upgrades as much as I thought.
Josh Dunn brings up a great example because we saw the U-wing as the first of basically the 2.0 ships introduced, right?
Mhm.
It was a dual pack where it was first edition and second edition viable. It makes perfect sense as one of the ones to go away.
But do we think it makes perfect sense for the U-wing to go away without the Ghost expansion coming out yet? Because I
why?
feel like,
Why does that matter?
because Sheathipede is also coming in the Ghost expansion. It is another, I don't know, just crew
I
carrier.
understand they may serve the same roles, but at least it's something concrete where you can get rid of it.
Yeah.
The result may be it's still overpowered rebel beef, but FFG could argue, look, you asked for us to get rid of stuff, we got rid of stuff.
Yeah. Like I want hyperspace. Like the thing that really hurt hyperspace was the random additions to stuff that didn't actually get re-released. To the
You mean like it putting an interceptor in there?
Yeah, the interceptor, the bomber. I don't mind that
Star
they will.
Viper.
I don't mind that they will eventually be part of hyperspace. I just think that was the wrong time. Because
I genuinely think those factions needed more list identity, and those filled those holes.
So if say hyperspace as an entity, okay, what is the difference between something being re-released and a new product in hyperspace? Nothing.
Correct.
So you're telling me, or some people, maybe not you directly, are saying this is okay to be also like 2 more ships can be added to Imperials, while the Separatists and the Republic are set with 3. You can argue 3.5 to 4 with Republic because 7B Jedi are way different. So because those 2 aspects aren't actually different, a re-release versus an actual new release in hyperspace context, then these other factions are just getting more tools to create powerful lists that some can't.
That
deal
is
with.
true, because otherwise, then you are basically stating. I mean, it's like pick your poison here, Ryan. It's otherwise what the result would be is like we are now holding hostage other factions simply because these brand new factions are limited in scope, and therefore the other factions must be equally limited. Which, I mean, is I can see the argument against that.
Uh-oh.
You want to know the real the real breaker of comments? That's the real breaker of comments.
A general announcement: St. Louis has just exploded. The Blues win the Stanley Cup.
Oh, shit!
Wait, really?
Oh!
I hope you survive the riots, Mark.
Oh!
Oh wow, 4-1. Jesus.
Yes!
If your
In
car's on
Boston- wait,
fire when you go to work tomorrow morning, now you know why.
That was in Boston too?
Yes,
Yeah,
it was
wow.
in Boston. It was in Boston.
Wow.
Oh,
St. Louis has just erupted.
Oh, I'm never gonna hear the end from my sister. Fuck.
I mean,
She might be busy tonight.
coming from a Red Wings fan, I'd rather see the Blues win than the Bruins. So
I'm a Predators fan, so I'm Central Conference anyway. And
That's interesting you said that, Mark. Do you know how many babies are conceived on the night of sports championships?
Oh, that's a
lot.
A lot.
A lot.
A lot of hockey
A
babies
lot.
tonight.
A lot of exploding going on out there.
Well, my sister is a St. Louis police detective.
oh,
so I'm
jeez.
pretty sure her night's gonna. I know she's already drunk as shit already because she's a huge Blues fan, and I'm a Predators fan. And
God, Predators.
damn it,
That club.
I'm never gonna hear the end of this. But man, is she gonna have to clean up that city tomorrow? So, joke's on you, Abby. Get wrecked. But no, yay! I mean, I'm
And now
happy.
we return to previous
Central
commentary.
Division won the Stanley Cup, and the Blues won.
All right, you got anything more on the hyperspace format?
I do have a big thing that I want to plug in on this whole thing.
Sure.
You want to talk about the actual topic at hand?
Yeah.
Whoa!
I'm gonna stay on topic.
Ha-ha!
Ha ha!
3 times already.
FFG is seriously with like I've always said this again. I'm always right. They're in a hard and rock place. Like they want all their ships to be playable, but with what the extended and hyperspace that they've gone forward with, they're releasing so many ships in new waves. But it's almost like they're releasing the wrong ships, kind of a thing. I strongly believe in the new points update that ships will be taken out. Like what we know is hyperspace right now is like, oh, everything released and the 5 ships that they added just willy-nilly. I think in the next points updates, they're going to start stripping ships away because wave 5 is what, another 8 ship wave?
I mean, they all have a solid amount. I guess. So the question is, are we likely to get a rotation of stuff out with just the re-release stuff in, or are they also going to bring stuff in that still hasn't been re-released yet?
Well, what I'm saying is they're stuck up against a wall.
All right,
they're stuck up against a wall because, especially for us retailers, they took all of our distributors are not allowed to sell anything 1.0. Like they basically got warehouses full of 1.0 stuff that FFG says you're not allowed to sell that.
Mm-hmm.
So what they're trying to do is for retailers, they're like, well, we want to play extended, but the new players that are getting the game, they want to go to the extended thing. Well, the stores are sold out and we can't buy old product. So it's like, well, I want to run a freaking, say I want to run 6 Hawks. Well, they're not hyperspace. I can't buy any Hawks as a store owner. So, and I've already sold out of all of my other ones. I can't buy new ones. They're not.
Who's mandating you can't buy 1.0?
The distributors. The distributors have stripped them from their ordering page. You cannot order anything 1.0.
So what happened to that product? Because that's still out there.
That's a good question. I have no idea.
Because
either it got shipped back to China and they're repackaging.
It was all implied, but that conversation I was having with Davey at Adepticon was there's plenty of 1.0 product out there. You can't use the excuse that because we haven't released it as officially 2.0, you can't get your hands on it and then go grab conversion kits, of which there are a plenty. And if you want to play with the stuff, you can.
Well, he lied to you.
No, he didn't. I'm just saying that's his perspective. Maybe he doesn't know either.
He straight up fucking lied to you.
Well, or times change and Asmodee made a different ruling.
When did that happen? When did that little conversation? Adepticon. Oh no. Alliance Distributors, which is the largest distributor of gaming in the United States, stopped us from ordering 1.0 in January.
At the time I had the conversation with them, there were a number of first edition ships in question that were now like hyperspace legal, not 2.0 legal, and just simple casual internet searches showed aplenty. Case in point was like, say, the TIE Interceptor.
Sure. Well, eBay and Amazon, that's different from buying them in your stores.
I get it, but it is something that is available. I get your point. You'd love to be able to support your local retailer, and if they can't because Alliance says no, then this begs the question, how much are FFG and Alliance in concert on this?
Oh, very, very. They're like I have an Alliance contact, and I have an Asmodee FFG contact.
All right. So if I was dying to play
conveniently-
I'm a new player. I'm dying to play Sunterfell in hyperspace, and I'm like, well, I need to go get my hands on an interceptor. I can get one for less than $10 Amazon Prime right now.
Yep. You can't get it from my store because I can't order it.
Okay. Well, then that's an issue you've got to work out between Alliance
and Alex
and
Davey lied to you. Your store.
Well, you're acting as if that was his decision.
It's not his decision, but he knew.
That's what I'm saying. He
knew that Alliance was pulling all 1.0 because Alliance isn't going to pull product that they have sitting on their shelves. They're like, why don't we run a 50% off? This would be great. We can get rid of it. FFG told all the distributors You are not allowed to sell 1.0 product. Period.
And I get why. If they know that they've ordered, why?
Yeah, why?
Okay, I'm FFG. I have in the works with my factories in China, TIE Interceptor. Okay, I can't go forever without it being part of hyperspace because I've made it hyperspace legal. I may not have announced it yet. Maybe I'll do it at Gen Con. Maybe it's wave 6 and we don't know it, but I need to shorten that window. So if I need to cut off sales to create demand for my product coming down as opposed to having the old product create competition with it, so be it. But if I'm super desperate, can I get my hands on a TIE Interceptor? You betcha.
So what are the distributors supposed to do with their warehouses full of silencers? For instance,
I mean,
now
don't they just get sent to some of the people who distribute it online through Amazon? Isn't that where it goes?
No,
anyway?
like Alliance has a strict no. Asmodee has a very strict no sale online. Like if you're going to sell our product online, you have a huge markup. That was a whole Asmodee thing that happened a year and a half ago.
Here's the deal.
Unless they sell it to them, right? Couldn't they just sell those products to
but
those
the distributors can't sell it because FFG told them they can't sell it.
Right. So let's get into that in just a second. But the analogy you'd think would hold in the sense that Coach, if you were to buy product from Alliance and you're discovering it's sitting on the shelves, are you allowed to sell it back to Alliance?
No.
Okay.
No. Alliance has no
Alliance
buyback.
Now buys a bunch of product from FFG,
which they did.
So unless they have a deal worked out to where this stuff is languishing on the shelves, can I sell it back to you, FFG? FFG is probably equally going to tell them no.
The only way I can think this happened was FFG went, hey, Alliance, I know you got a shit ton of 1.0 stuff. I don't want you to sell it. I want you to send it back to China.
Yeah, they worked out a deal.
And
FFG compensated Alliance.
Apart, and they're going to make they're going to save maybe a couple of $1 million or something like that.
You don't think the ships are even going to go into repaint?
No, they're just going to take it out, put it in the new box.
Have you noticed that all of the ships so far they've all been improved?
Oh yeah.
No.
Not all
of them. Not the X-Wings. The X-Wings they have the new model. Yeah, the new model X-Wings. I know that these warehouses were full of 1.0 stuff. And they stripped them from the websites for us to order them. So, like, what did they do with it?
Right. Why would they cut the nose despite their face?
Why would they cut it?
They wouldn't do this to appease FFG unless FFG incentivized them in some way, shape, or form.
FFG must have had to bought all that product back.
I doubt that, but I think they worked out a deal. They probably
cut
a discount on future orders.
Yeah.
Or they said this is your problem.
But I'm saying,
but we'll make it worth your while.
But I'm saying these days, if Alliance would have offered me like all this shit on 50%, I would have bought it, and Alliance would have made money. FFG would have made money. It would have went down the line. Like right now, I don't have any silencers in my store, and I have to wait till the new silencers come out, which is fine. Soilencers. Sorry, I'm calling them soilencers these days.
Tinier.
They're tiny.
By the way,
they're the betas.
Can you write a mental note for the name of this episode, Ryan, from this segment that Coach said?
Okay.
Hard and a rock place.
I noticed that too.
That's your episode. Great title.
Oh, I had stalling and shading.
Hard. Yeah, well, Montana's going to change it anyway. He changes every one of my fucking titles.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay. I think that pretty much dealt with what I had to do with the deal. I think it's almost time for commercial break. Has to be, right?
Probably. Yep.
Okay. But before we do that, I know Uncle Mark has a get off my playmat segment, right?
Sure.
Do we want it, baby? Do you want it before or after commercial?
Baby. No, we need the Uncle Mark, has get off my fucking playmat. There, I took care of it for you.
You know, sometimes when the amateurs step in,
Oh,
hang on, I had to turn it down because of the blues. Why the Sam Hill?
Hmm.
There we go.
This is
It's because the
professional.
Blues won. Everything's upside down.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and all ships at sea. It's Uncle Mark, and get off my playmat. And it's been totally ruined by the fact that the worst has showed up, and Franch is in the chat room. 2 weeks ago, I merely took time to try to find something creative to share with the audience as a whole, and I thought, well, you know, they make so much fun about us not being able to get through a show opening. Well, let's see how some of the better podcasts do it. Oh, wait, let's try Stay on Target. So, 30 minutes of listening to the opening and carefully writing down every comment being made in it. And suddenly now I'm the guy that has created an issue and a problem. To that I say, fa on you all. Franch, if you're going to start out with good morning XWing, commit to it. Don't give me that Kentucky good morning XWing, y'all. You know, come on. You're an engineer. You have no sense of humor. It was bred out of you the moment you got into math. Although I have to give the worst some kudos, because he was going, oh my God, this whole thing is taking a horrible turn. And I was going, well, I guess I really can't be mad at Gordon. So we'll just keep on French. I can't be mad at Mikhail because Mikhail did the right thing and bailed on the show. But now that I see that we're still all friends, more or less, and the fact that, you know, I now learn that they're doing a bit, I don't believe you. You know, we can go forth and distribute more no content and more hilarity, and we will continue on with that. Remember, leave the jokes and fun to the theater majors, please. Okay? Thank you. Now, for the opening that I had planned today, instead of what I found out at 8 o'clock that we were going to attempt to do, I shall continue. Jabba the Hutt, Jabba the Hutt, Jabba the Hutt. You know you want him, Jabba the Hutt. You know you need him, Jabba the Hutt. Coach Willie loves him, Jabba the Hutt, Jabba the Hutt, Jabba the Hutt. During the end phase, Jabba the Hutt. You may choose one friendly ship at Jabba the Hutt. At range 0 to 2 at Jabba the Hutt. And spend one charge, Jabba the Hutt. If you do, Jabba the Hutt. Ship recovers one charge, Jabba the Hutt. On one of its equipped illicit upgrades, Jabba the Hutt, Jabba the Hutt. Only 6 points. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Uncle Mark out.
You're such a suck up.
take it away, Montana commercial.
Oh my God.
The best get off my playmat ever.
Timestamp 9:58.
Oh my God, Mark, I'm crying. Oh shit.
Oh, Jacob says that needs to be a commercial for a Jabba the Hutt upgrade card. I'm gonna go get another beer.
Yeah, I need to refill my bourbon. Jesus.
Oh my God. That was too good.
I'm glad you
Shit,
liked it.
Mark. Fuck.
Take that, Chico. You and your Disney melodies. Go for Rob Zombie. Be a man. Grow a set.
No, don't tempt him. He'll probably come on. Oh God, that was so. Oh my God, that was so good. Wow. Jabba the Hutt. It's gonna be in my head all night. Jabba the Hutt. Only 6 points, Jabba the Hutt.
And I was like, gosh, what can I do with it? Oh, well, let's just read the card.
Oh, it's true. It's true. Worlds is extended, right?
I think so.
All I got to do is make it that last chance hyperspace qualifier. I guarantee you. Oh,
That's what
I made a
my only way in, unless they let us in on presses.
I made a triple YV666 list the other day, and I'm really liking it.
You know, I was listening to talk on Stay on Target about Joe. I always called him Joe Canopa, but apparently that's not how you say his last name.
Canepa?
Canepa.
Canepa.
Yeah.
Canepa.
And you know, he's flying the 2 Epsilons and Goofball, and that was my last round at Bloomington. I'm playing against Brad something or other, long name like
Sheleshnenebeksky.
He
something.
flies first order, doesn't he?
Yeah, and
what was it like to play him?
He kind of fortressed in the corner to start the match, and so I ran all 5 of my Y-wings straight at the Epsilons, and basically engaged the first one and did a flyby. So I had my turrets pointing the first one and my main guns at the second one, and tore it up. But it was a good game, and I won on the last shot. I took out the second one, the last shot of the game to end up beating him by 30 points. But it was that close. But I was flying 5 Y-wings with ion cannons.
Who were you facing?
Brad Sheleshnenebeksky.
He's from Chicago.
He's from Chicago.
This new beer is called the Hopsecutioner.
Ooh! I have a new beer, guys.
Hoppy, 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 hoppy.
I have a new beer that I'm drinking. It's called Budweiser.
Jeez.
It's made in, I think, America. Oh, it's made in St. Louis. Look at there. Love you, Budweiser.
Did you say St. Louis?
It's made in St. Louis. Bah, 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 bah. Hey, huge shout out to Arch Squadron.
Arch Alliance.
Arch Alliance Squadron. Or is it just Arch Alliance?
Just Arch Alliance.
Arch Alliance.
I should do this during the actual show. But I want to give them a shout out right now anyway. Hey, guys, be careful. Riots are dangerous. I know. I've
Correct.
started one. It turned out pretty fucking awesome. But, yeah, you know.
Patrick says, actually, Budweiser's made in India.
No,
that back.
actually, it's made in St. Louis. I was there. I saw it being
Denver,
made.
and Atlanta, and
It's just owned by some bullshit person in India. Because you know the American way, sell out to the top dollar, but fucking A.
you know he's from Massachusetts. He's going to cause
Wait.
problems.
If it was made in India, does that make it a craft beer and I can be cool like everybody else?
No.
Just kidding. I don't discriminate against people who drink craft beers. Just like you shouldn't discriminate against me drinking Budweiser.
Ryan, are we gonna have to remind him what's going on in the show?
Nope.
Just
No. I'm gonna remember all of this one. I only had 3 whiskeys before I showed up. So
I forget the amount you pregame.
it's Wednesday. It's golf night.
Oh, yeah. How'd you do?
I golfed to 43, which sucks balls. But the interesting thing that was thrown upon me. So we have, I don't know who's familiar with the Ryder Cup. It is America versus Europe.
The Outrider Cup?
Golf, my man.
Right.
Real.
What do you think the Outrider Cup is based
Yes,
off of?
I know.
Well, then we know.
Okay. Well, do you?
Yeah, I do.
So anyway, a local Catholic town that I live in has a Ryder Cup with another local Catholic town, and we call it the Ryder Cup. And we started it last year, and Alton crushed. Thank you to this gentleman right here. But so we have a very nice trophy. It's got our name on it, it's everything. And then so we all were trying to figure out, because there was a bunch of people pissed off that they weren't invited on the team for the Ryder Cup. Because it was like the first time it ever happened, and we didn't even know if we were getting enough people to do it. Well, we were wrong, and a bunch of people wanted to be in the Ryder Cup because it's competition, it's golf, it's two Catholic towns that like to drink a lot, so naturally everybody wants to be a part of it. So I was just told tonight that my league scores from tonight, next week, and the week after that are what determines who gets in on the 20-man squad on Sioux Golf's Ryder Cup team. And I was like, great. I just poured 25 yards of concrete today. Super low on sleep. Not really in my A game, but you know what? I shot a 43. Could have shot a 40 without my out of bounds, but whatever. But I leave for Canada next week. They're like, well, fucking sucks for you. Apparently, you only get 2 scores to average in order to get into the team. So I'm like, well, I guess maybe I'll make it. Maybe I won't. Whatever.
Just tell them Jabba the Hutt.
Jabba the Hutt. Jabba the Hutt. But anyway, yeah. No, I golfed okay tonight. I made up for it with whiskeys. So,
Uncle Mark, one of the headlines I'm seeing here is Blues have done the improbable from worst to first in 5 months. So
Yeah, they were last in January.
Oh wow!
They were last.
yeah, they stuck balls.
What happened? Like what turned what hit the switch?
The St. Louis Cardinals started coming to all the home games and wearing their jerseys, and the Blues started going to all the Cardinal baseball games and wearing Cardinals jerseys.
No, they signed a really good defenseman in the midseason.
And their goaltender woke up and
said, their goaltender woke up. That's
anytime you need to ask why some team got hot in hockey, it's because their goaltender decided, nope.
Well, I mean,
nothing's getting by me.
I've heard of the hot goaltender, obviously, for playoffs, but like a month's worth of stretch is, I mean, it's doable, but
it happens. It happens in hockey.
They got the magic line together, and they had a great number 2 line that has gone totally unnoticed in the hockey world. And
I'll tell you the reason right now. Nashville shit the bed against the Sharks. That's why St. Louis was there. That's why they were there. Nashville shit the bed against the fucking San Jose Sharks, which should have been a rollover team. Blues were a rollover team, but we shit the bed and we fucking sucked.
So since the Predators have been, competitive and viable, have they made a Stanley Cup?
Yeah, we were there last year.
Yeah, they took the Ducks out, which is my team. God, I was pissed.
Last year. Okay.
We were there last year and we lost in Game 7.
To some ice hockey.
Really? No, we lost in Game 6. Fuck.
But Predators have been a good team for the past 3 years.
Yeah, we've been super solid.
Solid hockey town, Las Vegas in the desert.
Don't you fucking mention Las Vegas to me, because Kyle, the Sloot Stoos, decided he had to go to a conference in Las Vegas, and then he went to one Vegas Knights team game. He was like, "Oh, I'm a Vegas Knights fan now." And because they're in my conference, he thinks that like they're good and shit, and we crush them every time. So, speaking of crazy good times, I would very much, if you guys aren't going to Gen Con, be sure to subscribe to this channel because Gen Con Live is going to be very interesting at the OCX house.
Cool. We're
I
gonna
haven't
have.
bought my tickets yet. I need to.
Oh, you need to be.
Yeah, you
like,
should.
wait. Have you bought a Gen Con badge?
Not yet.
Go do it. I've been getting notifications that they're
running low.
It's running low.
Oh,
They're
really?
running low.
You need to go. Like, I would
Like
do
tonight.
that now.
Yeah, you should
I would
probably
do
do it
that
tonight.
now.
I'm not. I think I mentioned it before. I might have been drunk or whatever, but the Ryan Farmer and the D Yoon are staying at the OCX house.
Oh, they're going to regret that.
They are
Formerly
super
Minox.
gonna. They have no idea. Like Ryan texted me today. He's like, "Are you sure we're cool to stay at your house?" I'm like, "You're fine. We got places for you to stay, but I don't know if you're emotionally
sleep-
yet physically able to stay at our house."
But sleep with one eye open.
I mean, Gordon can attest to what goes on at an OCX house during a major.
I was super out. Nope.
Yet he showed up twice.
Well, it's one thing to hang. It's another to stay there.
There's one thing to hang, but yeah, they have to stay there. Oh God, I'm sorry, but right now, for those of you who don't know Chicago personally, he is an instigator and an enabler, and he doesn't take no for an answer. So Ryan D, I'm pretty sure you don't listen to our podcast, but anyway, good luck.
And that's why he's a co-host at OCX Radio.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I think I'm gonna go take a piss, and then we can get back in the show. What's the next topic?
The discussion of stalling and fortressing.
Oh, yeah, cool.
I don't know
You
if I
guys
have an
stand in
opinion on
corner
any
and
of that.
stall and fortress all you want while
Well-
I run my wings to you.
I'm pretty sure, Gordon, you'll find a way to develop one based upon our responses.
Okay.
I can't get out.
Shh.
There we go.
And if the fellow is listening that I'm supposed to be sending my Y-Wing to, I'll be getting that out probably next week.
Gordon, Mark,
Yes.
what are you guys looking forward to, and or hoping that happens after the points update? What do you want to fly? What do you want to work?
I really don't know. I'm afraid they're going to trim back the ARC 170s in the Republic build, so you can't get 4 of them out there in a gold squadron. I kind of like that build.
I'd like to see something about the A-Wings just a smidge, Ryan. You know, like a good 5 A-Wing list would be maybe 2 of the big aces into it, and then you can squeeze in 3 of the generics. But the fact that you can get in all those named pilots with abilities, I think isn't good. Because it's my hope that they pare back Rebel Beef enough to the point where I feel like I can bring A-Wings again in the meta. Because that's what's keeping me out. So
I'm not even that convinced it's just Rebel Beef that's keeping A-Wings out. I don't even think A-Wings are out. It's just a little more difficult.
But that's the one list I can't. Lists that take a long time to fly and take a long time to kill really hurt a 5-ship 2-dice attack list, right? It just they need. Like the worst experience I had was at Adepticon when I watched this guy deliberate, going, "Man, he must have some amazing moves planned for this list." And it was a UUBB or whatever, and this was the first time I'd seen it.
Oh, that's probably one of the Pittsburgh guys. They ran UUB.
No, I know he is. I'm not going to name him. And he took something like 5 minutes per turn to figure it out, and I was wondering, is this the first time you've played this list? Is this that hard? And I got in 6 total attacks. And I knew based on my prior experience at Ohio when I had faced a slow Rebel player, and it wasn't going to do any good to fuss at him because I knew he wasn't capable of playing faster, that if you're not super aggressive against Rebel Beef with your A's, like get in right away because you will need every last second to try to get in damage.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, there's just too much stuff to chew through. And as soon as we got done with turn 2 and I saw what his moves were, I went, oh, well, I give up. And all I could do was just say, hey, just FYI. And I told the judge, I go, keep an eye on this guy because he may be a problem for other players. I've already lost this game because he's not going to allow me to get in more turns. And I'm not going to make a stink of it. But, not everyone is me. So I'd like to see something done about that. I don't know whether it's like introduce chess clocks or lower the health or which you can't. I mean, that's a problem,
Oh, that's okay. All right, let's start the clock.
Timothy Hames is taking screenshots while we're on air and using filters. Coach, he used a cheetah filter on you.
Cheetah?
Look at OCX Facebook group and the groupies chat. The groupies chat is a hilarious one where Uncle Mark looks like the older guy from Up.
And this is why I don't have a webcam.
Should I give him a good one? Here, ready? Here. Cheetah.
You go ahead and cheetah up
God.
my Fallout avatar all you want.
Coach, just look at the OCX groupies. There's a few of them in there.
Oh no, chat leader. Oh! He's making you look like, oh God. Oh no. Oh, sad face.
I look like Chucky.
I think chat leader's got a new app.
Apparently.
Oh, that didn't take long.
No. He's
God damn it.
I
almost feel like we need to just to get it out of his system, a Timothy Hames episode. just like once a year. Just once a year. Just be like, all right, Tim. Here you go. And I don't, to tell you the truth, everything, I think we've had him on a couple of times. And every time he's like a perfect gentleman.
Yeah.
He's like a regular, normal human being.
You can't trust those kind of people.
But he's not the human being that I know him in chat, which, first of all, he doesn't sleep. I've found that out. He does not sleep. And 2, never mind. The ability for Tim to have a conversation with himself is uncanny. Because I love scrolling up. I don't know why. But every morning I scroll up and I'm like, oh, what's Tim talking about? And I'm like, ooh, I can add to this. Which I don't know if he's asleep at the time that I respond because he never responds to me. So, Tim, the fuck, what are you doing at 7 a.m. Central Time? You can't sleep.
I thought it was funny the other morning that Ryan put on. He says, I got up this morning and I had 99 missed texts. What was going on?
Yeah.
Ryan, that's my phone every morning.
It's every morning. What are you talking about?
The Australians start in as I go to bed, and they're still at it when I wake up.
That's the beauty of the OCX radio chat room, which, okay, I'll do this right now because we're not live, or we're technically still on radio break. I know we've talked about the OCX chat a lot, and it is an exclusive group. If you think that you are able to handle the OCX chat, message me on Facebook, and I will add you. And then we'll see how long you last.
Let's go through the people who were not able to handle it.
Oh
Ryan-
man,
Mark Ventham.
no, there's way too many to go through.
Right. There's some highlights though.
Oh, highlights. Okay.
Mark Ventham. He already's like super quit out. Ryan Farmer. Anytime, he's still in there, but I'm pretty
He's
sure
still in, but he just
like
doesn't answer.
he like
anything.
double secret probation muted that shit.
Mhm.
DU actually does respond. Zach
No, give credit where credit's due. D actually checks in with us once
He
a
does,
day
and he
and
chats-
just catches up on 24 hours worth of conversation.
I've
In a fury, interacts with us, and then he's gone.
I know.
I feel like this is like that chat room is D's like vice
Therapy? Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It's like I don't smoke cigarettes, I don't drink copious amounts of alcohol, but I check into the OCX chat room once a day.
Zach Matthews.
Who
Out.
has been added so many times. Just leave him alone, guys.
Rebel Mike tried to leave recently, and Tommy said nope, and added him back in. Every time it's like an admin thing, accept an admin. And I look who it is, and I look who was added. It's usually someone who just left, and Tommy brought him back in. And I said I would accept it, and I would say blame Tommy.
If I have one thing to say about the OCX chat, the groupies chat, you will always get an answer to whatever you ask. Pretty much almost instantaneously.
Mhm.
Whether you want it or not.
Whether you want it or not. My advice is if you're entered in, put it on mute right away. Otherwise, your phone's going to ding all day long. All 24 hours a day, it's going to ding all day long.
Or turn notification to vibrate only.
Yeah, or do that. If someone mentions you by name, then it vibrates and whatever. Which I'm not even coach anymore on the fucking OCA. So people mention my name like 6-7 times a day, and I'm like, until they say, "What am I?"
Let's see, because name still
The
works.
man who something
Aaron Bog, the coachman of ignorance.
the coachman of ignorance, right? So, like,
And I get
Whatever.
to the point where I see all these nicknames and I don't know who the hell they are anymore. I got to go in and scroll back through going, who the hell's this? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Let's
Wait a minute.
you know what?
What's my nickname?
I got the nickname list. Let's go through it. The highlights.
Whoa. Okay, hold on. Let's get back to the show, and then for shit show, we'll go through the nickname.
All right, we'll do the shit show for that.
All right, because I think we should really get back.
I
to
thought
the
you were
show.
about to say, wait, this is great show material.
No.
Let's start recording now. I'm like, what?
I'm still the fucking host, and I realize that this
Thank
is getting
you.
to be a little long of a commercial break.
Yeah,
So,
we'll do it for shit show.
Mark, whoever's keeping track of timestamps, timestamp it now.
1022.
Yep.
10:22. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Coach back.
There's still 17 people watching this. Good Lord.
They're correct.
Well,
They're all
welcome back to the OCX Radio Podcast. For all of you 17 people watching it right now, you all need to share this link to everyone in Facebook.
21.
Oh, I'm sorry. All 21 of you.
Look, that was 4 right when we came back. We can like it's exponential increase.
How do they know? How do they know? Anyway, welcome back to the OCX Radio Podcast.
Australia got up.
Australia woke up. That's what it was. Then AJ, looking at you, girl. Love you. So we're gonna move on to a new topic, and we're gonna discuss a little bit of stalling and
fortressing. There has been I think mostly in the FFG forums, but it's probably been rolled over into other discussions, and also on Minox recently with their pro panel.
Group
formerly known as Minox, therefore known as my mayonnaise socks. Mayo socks. There you
go. They had the pro panel on, and one of the questions dealt with fortressing, current rules, their thoughts on it. But overall, there's been there was a backdrop here. There was a recent hyperspace trial in Southern California in which the finals were cool enough. One of the lists was 4 Star Vipers, Black Sun Assassins with, I think, Crackshot.
Mm-hmm.
Say what?
Yeah, it's cool.
You remember the regional you won? What it made top 8?
Yeah, 3 Star Vipers at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Not the same player, I don't think.
I know, obviously.
Unless
not,
they
but still.
moved. But I don't think so. So the other player had Luminara, Sinker, and 4 Torrents. Not 7B Luminara, by the way. So another cool, innovative-ish thing. But they both made the decision of, I don't ever want to engage unless it is here. And here was not the same for either person. So they kind of just walked across their own board edge back and forth for a long time, waiting to see if an opening was present, waiting to see if someone bit on something. Just never happened. Until, oddly enough, at one point when the Sinker decided to 3-bank the wrong way off the board. It was said to actually have been on purpose. But either way, it brought upon the discussion. This was finals. This is like 2 hours, right? Guys apparently had fun. They were talking through stuff and just, whatever. Last game in a hyperspace trial. And it brought upon a lot of discussion dealing with the difference or similarities between in the rules where it talks about fortressing and stalling. Because those are 2 different words, but at the same time, FFG is putting emphasis on the fact that they don't want to create stalemates in the game. And how it's best interpreted into competitive play, and maybe how marshals should pay attention to or look at it. One of the people who brought up a strong point at the time, Paul Heaver, even jumped in because he marshaled the Nova Open last year, and it sounds like plans to marshal the Nova Open this year. And with that, he had pointed out, say, if I was the marshal of that event, I would have interjected and said, you gentlemen need to engage at some point. Now, keep in mind, that does not mean, and he said this too, that you don't immediately just have to turn at each other and start jousting. You just need to move towards a engagement state of the game where you're actively playing the game. Because based upon how they determine unsportsmanlike conduct, that does still label things such as, creating a stalemate of the game. It is explicitly pointed out that fortressing in their definition deals with ships that actively bump into each other or create positions to where they don't move for successive turns. But we've seen with Quad Phantoms and with Rebel Beef in some cases and some other lists that some people will just go up and down their deployment zone until something presents itself, whether the other player gets impatient or whether they believe it's a time to jump on them, or in the case of this hyperspace trial final, neither player decided for an extremely long time to engage at all. It is something that if you go to a hyperspace trial or an event, I would hope, or you should bring up before the event happens, what your marshal's ruling is on that day. And no ruling at this point is considered 100% right or wrong, because the unsportsmanlike conduct is based upon at discretion of the marshal. So it has been a hot topic as well, apparently within our Judge Illuminati, that have helped create the unofficial document that kind of helps out with rulings that haven't been fully defined out by FFG yet.
Is this what Chico wrote about?
Yes.
Statement
Well,
time.
the statement is lengthy. Did any of you guys have any initial thoughts from that so far?
Well, you're right, Ryan. It was like magically I suddenly have an opinion when I didn't think I would. everything needed is satisfied by FFG in the fact that they have at least declaratively made a statement about how they don't want to see something, and that more importantly, they left it up to the discretion of the judge. So if it's an issue, it can be resolved. There is an official ruling on it. It's like the definition of pornography. Well, I don't know how to describe it, but I know it when I see it. Well, I don't know how to describe what's going on, but I know it when I see it when two people are not advancing the game towards whatever playing the game is that you called it, right? Let's say the criteria is like, I want to see dice thrown, right? That's what's playing the game. So it's really dependent upon the judge you have. If the judge is so inclined to look at that board state and go, no, guys, if you don't, I'm not going to tell you precisely what you need to do. Other than that, if you don't make me feel like I feel better about this game within 10 minutes, I'm going to forfeit something, or whatever.
Gordon, I want to touch on that subject that you just made, but I want to hear what Chico's statement is first.
Okay.
Because I feel like what you just said right there is a huge topic.
And I want to address something real quick before moving on that Mark Stewart had mentioned. Well, is there going to be an issue with running for ships that have gained a lead? The difference in running in a game is that you've already had an engagement and you are actively trying to contain your win condition. That's okay. At that point, I assume you have engaged and you have a lead now. If you choose to run, that's on you, and it's on your opponent to catch you. If they continually can't catch you, that's unfortunate for them. They've put themselves in positions to not be able to catch you to gain points.
Yeah, it's a skill. Yeah. You may not enjoy the game, but both people are playing.
Correct. So, Chico, he put under what we know. We know that Riverside, California hyperspace trial, 2 players flew in circles, but mostly in the deployment zone for 90 minutes of the game, then went to a final round engagement. Paul Heaver had responded, mentioning what I mentioned before. The two sides, what they did was legal. The rules state that fortressing is a form of stalling and give specific rules as to what is and is not fortressing and how to enforce that. What those players did was not covered by that rule and was therefore legal, which technically it was. Number 2, what they did was illegal. The rules state that stalling is unsportsmanlike conduct and only gives 2 examples, slow play and fortressing, which it is not limited to. This gives judges the ability to enforce other forms of stalling. The simple fact is that you are in one of these 2 camps, whether it is legal or illegal. What happened? Chico's side, I believe that what they did was legal. However, I enjoy this game more as an always attacking game, but if we're going to try and move to that direction, we need defined rules. The issues. Where do you draw the line? Players didn't leave their deployment zone. Okay, I just make sure my stalling leaves the deployment zone now and then. Player doesn't make an effort to engage. Which player isn't engaging? Is my 1 forward to victory with rebels not engaging fast enough? If we both fly around the outside edges trying for good positions, is that trying hard enough to engage? Is there a time or turn limit? No matter what rule you create, it will either be too weak, allowing loopholes, or it'll be too rigid and hurt players who are putting in a good effort or a good faith effort. What about mid to late game stalling? If I see that I'm up on points and I run away for 2 turns, then there's no way for my opponent to be able to catch me, or if they do, I token up and their damage per round will make it impossible. That is stalling as much as early game stalling is. So he goes on, so how do we solve it? Change must come from the top. I don't think any solution is going to take hold well enough unless FFG helps create or enforce it. The solution should embrace giving a benefit to both players to engage throughout the entirety of the game. this whole problem stems from X-Wing being an inherently untimed game forced into a timed limit, because not doing so would make tournaments insane. And that's it. That is Chico's point and dissertation, I guess.
Wow. I'm gonna jump off right now and saying that it has to be a time game.
Yes, tournament-wise, it can't not be.
It cannot not be a time game.
But he makes
It
a
seems
point.
egregious because they went 90 minutes doing it, where in a regular
Right.
game, maybe they only had 45 to do it.
Yeah. Like, printed on the box, it may say, casually how long a game should take to finish. But he's probably right. Like, this game originally was made without a time limit in mind, and competitively, it just had to have one.
Yes, and from the inception of X-Wing, they have constantly said that we did not think this was going to be as big as it is now. When they made X-Wing, it was not made for tournament play. It was just something they came up with, like, oh, let's just run this at Gen Con. Mark, you'll know, right? Props. He's like, let's just throw some stuff together and do this. And then, wow. Right? Go ahead, Mark.
4 Y-Wings.
Yeah. With ion turrets. I remember. Anyway, man. I get what Chico's saying. I'm gonna address right now the later stages of the game. You're winning and you're running away. I can see where that is perceived as stalling. There's a player that wants to win outright, and there's a player that has done the math, done the probability, and I'm sorry, this is a competitive game, guys. I can't stress that enough. If you go to a tournament, it is a competitive game. This is not casual anymore. If he's able to do the math better than you are, he wins. If he can run away with 46 points and you're sitting at 42, and there's no way you're going to destroy either half that ship or all that ship to get below that point, he wins. He accomplished his goal in the competitive game. Now, to address the 90-minute stall, it's like chess. The problem is chess has built in, you have to confront each other every once in a while. This game has a rule built in to where if you don't confront each other, it actually has a rule built in where if nothing happens, you final salvo. Is it a good rule? Is it the right rule? Probably not, but it is the rule. That's what I got to say on the subject.
Ryan?
So I do agree on the mid to end game part. If you've created a game state that you've moved to, and your opponent is also part of that, it's two sides have to make the game. If you've come out as the victor in not only the first engagement, but then the scrum afterwards, and generally the turnaround or disengage, and your choice is to disengage because you have the lead, you're being passive because you control the pace of the game. In any competitive game, sport, anything, if someone is up by any amount of points, they are controlling the pace. If they're up by enough, they're going to try and make the pace in their favor and take less risks.
Which a win condition.
Yes, which likely means less need to be aggressive when it's not necessary.
Right.
It's in football, you're running the ball to run the clock out because you already have points up and you're high enough in points to where you don't feel like you need to score more that soon. Or as time gets low, you are trying to just maintain your victory and giving your opponent less time in the game to come back and gain points on you.
Oh,
That does not mean slow play.
No.
That just means you are actively taking turns to be passive and defensive.
Well, I'll argue there. Slow play does take into effect if you have one ship left, which is worth 50 some points, and you know you're ahead, and you're taking 5 minutes for a dial for one ship, that's slow play.
Yeah, most likely. Slow play is better and more easily seen when you see a tonal shift. Right. When there's an actual difference, when in their, first, granted, first engagement, scrum, and disengage, there's a little more thought process going into that. But if the dials don't get faster when you have less ships or less decisions, granted, I understand when you're up on points, when you're trying to preserve that, you are trying to take in as many decisions into consideration. But we're not talking about first engagement scrum type moves here.
No. This is end of the game win condition. I mean, when you have 4 ships that still don't equal the ship count of 1, you're like, oh, done, and then you put it down. I've been on this situation where you're like, well, why can't you decide on one ship? You're like, well, I'm trying to figure out where 4 ships are supposed to go, and I'm trying to figure out the best possible way for me to survive. A lot of people don't put themselves in the opposite person's perspective, where they're like, yeah, I only have one dial to pick, but this dial is way more important than the 4 you just laid down.
All right. Well, to be fair, though, we're now conflating issues. Are we talking slow play or are we talking stalling?
I think we're just making sure that
right. We're not going to confuse the two.
Yeah, when we mention end game scenarios and getting up on the game, that doesn't mean slow play is acceptable.
Slow play is not acceptable, which could consider to be stalling. But I want to keep going. I want to keep going back to Gordon's thing where it's the porn thing. It's not porn until I see it. And then I know, fuck, that's porn.
But it's not. But these issues are not enforceable short of, I've got to drag over a judge and I've got to make this other person yell at my opponent.
But to tell you the truth, they'll never be enforceable until there's rules in place that enforce those situations. They're trying.
Yeah, or as Paul Heaver or others have mentioned, if you are a person or you're in touch with a person that runs an event or will be running an event, you should let them know or ask them to make it clear at the start of the event their intentions and their interpretations of that rule, so everyone knows at the beginning when it may be necessary to call a judge for it.
I feel like this has to be the number one thing that happens at every tournament. It doesn't matter if it's a store championship or hyperspace, prime, grand, whatever the fuck they're calling it these days. It has to be the number one question every judge has to answer at the beginning of the thing. It's like, okay, everybody, this is how I'm going to rule this. Which it sucks because XWing is such a gray area, right? Mm-hmm. But that's the role you assume as a judge, and hopefully you're supposed to get paid out or prize supported accordingly. But that's another discussion for another day. But yeah, that's the number one thing. I agree with Paul Eber on that. That's the one thing above all that the judge, the TO, the marshal, whatever, has to go, hey, everybody, if I, get this call, this is, but how is a judge supposed to reiterate that in one sentence?
Oh, it's not a one sentence thing. Like it's just okay. So I just ran a hyperspace trial recently. I did not make this known because this discussion had not come up and I wasn't overall concerned. But if I was to run another one and I knew I had to plan on saying something, I don't have a plan. Like I haven't really figured this out 100% yet, but I would say something along the lines of, if you are creating a stalemate in the game in which an engagement has not occurred, you are free to call me as a judge. I will assess the situation and dole out warnings if necessary.
Fine. So let's say that's you out in Southern California as the judge, and you're now watching what these guys are doing in the final table. What would you have done? Okay, let's say you had to give out the warnings. Now what?
Similar to what Paul Heaver had mentioned, I would have said, okay, I would probably try to figure out, okay, by the time they've gotten to the point of doing their first or maybe even second K turn of them just going back and forth, right? Because, there's sometimes on an engagement, I can understand you go to one corner, you K turn instead of turning up the board edge to come back down and then cut back in the middle, right? Underneath back in your deployment. If I see that there's no effort, it's weird because I want to kind of have a time limit mark to it.
Yeah.
No, here's what you do. If you don't know, here's what you do. You look at the board state where they're currently at, and then you assess as a judge how many turns you think would be reasonable amount of turns of dials set necessary for, say, some kind of engagement. You're like, well, geez, these guys are across the map. Fine. You guys have 4 dial placements each, and then I want to see dice thrown. And if not, we're going to final salvo.
I don't.
I mean,
that's probably better.
To.
That's probably better measurable is based on the game state. How many turns you expect something to happen.
But the point is, make a guess, give them criteria that they have to adhere to, and if they don't, to your satisfaction, you're declaring final salvo.
Yeah, and just
because if they're going to waste everyone's time, let's not have it be wasted and let's get out of there.
Gordon, that might be the most fucking best thing you've ever said on this podcast.
Yeah, I think.
Wait, no, he gave you 4 rounds, right? 4 rounds is a long time. If you haven't engaged by then, you're disrespecting the judge's call.
It's 4 rounds from where they called you over, or when you walked over for the game.
Right, or it could be less. As a judge, you can look at this and just go, "Oh, I can see these guys could be attacking in 2 turns. That's what I want." Guys, you got 2 turns to get at whatever.
As a judge, you go, okay, I know the dials. You could engage if both of you engage right now. Okay, it's going to take you 2 turns. Double it if you haven't done it by then. If dice aren't rolled by then, then no, I 100% agree.
It's whatever. And then if they want to argue it, then
you're not going to get a warning. You're not going to get a this. You're just going to final salvo.
Yeah, and if they argue it and they bring up a good point, then go, okay, fine, I'll give you 1 more round. That's a good point. Whatever. I want to see a gameplay.
I fucking think that's awesome. Because it also gives them the ability to maneuver the way they probably don't want to, but it gives them a chance to maneuver, right? It gives them 4 rounds to set up a kill box.
Okay, now hang on. Let's look at the chat. So now,
that's what I was getting to on the devil's advocate side.
We haven't gotten there yet because the reason this happened is even though we talk about both sides are basically saying, I don't want to engage unless I can engage in this part, and until I can get the scenario in my advantage, I'm not gonna bother to engage at all. Whereas we have to be honest about what that Viper player admitted, because I had read that. I know this was brought up here in the chat, but this was mentioned earlier by the player himself. He had a game plan, which is, that list is horrible for my Vipers. The only way I'm going to win this is if I stall, avoid.
You go to a final salvo.
No. He was going to come in, set up his attack, and win on points, but he wasn't going to do so until the absolute last turn of the game, which means in a final, he was going to stall for 2 hours and then throw dice on the very last combat.
Okay.
And that was a strategy I was going to employ if I ever faced Ghost Sven at Worlds last year, because I knew I wasn't beating it straight up. And I had played locals at the time that Fortress with Ghost Sven and preferred to just do that. And I said, well, you can't kill X amount of points in this amount of time. I can. So I'm just going to wait till the very final bit and then make my run at you.
So now, so let's acknowledge the reality of this. Is that a valid strategy? Yes, it may be. That is the only way you're going to win the game if combat has to take place and you're just not going straight to a final salvo.
It's
but
hard.
As a judge, it's hard to do. But as a judge, if I saw that, I would force the final salvo on you. I'm sorry that you ended up facing your hard counter.
I don't even think that's much of a hard counter.
But the point is in the player's mind if they think that's it. I'm not going to let them stall for 2 hours.
Like, I don't see how you couldn't create another, like for the Star Viper player. If I'm thinking how maneuverable and how independent those can be, he was flying them in a block mostly. You can't tell me there's a way to split those up and surround something so where maybe they can only kill half of a Star Viper or one, and the others can't get better position for a flanking engagement. Like that's got to exist in some manner. In any spot that those, I guess I'd have to go back and watch the game, but man, that'd be boring as hell. But
this just points out how hard it is to make floor rules.
Oh yeah,
it really is. I mean, we all scream for floor rules, right? Floor rules. We write it on our fucking wrists.
All right, I want to respond to the chat here. Mark, it absolutely is. If your strategy is invoking stalling to the point that I, as the judge, declare, I don't know how to define stalling, but I know it when I see it, and I'm seeing it right now, too bad.
Yeah, like
it's almost the way it has to be.
Like, so I could see where the Republic player has Sinker, which means they want their torrents to exist in the side arc, one of the two side arcs at range 1 to 2. There's a limit in space where those can be. The Star Viper player, on the other hand, has no limit or restriction to be within any specific area within each other. I mean, it may be difficult, but you can't tell me those things can split up from all angles once you start to figure out his rotation of movement and maybe engage a little bit earlier than, like, I don't know, the last 15 minutes.
Is it one of those things where, as a judge, you have to gauge, okay, it's halfway through the round, and you got to walk around the tables, and if you see no damage, no nothing, no shields gone, you have to monitor that table for the next 2 rounds. Is that one of those things? Because I can guarantee you, if you have a judge standing behind you, you play differently than you do if you don't.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Okay, so I keep interacting with Mark in the chat here. He's basically saying, where in the rules does it say you get to amend the time? And so what I typed out was like, why even bother having the rules say you can't do something, and the rules provide a judge unless a judge can enforce the rules? So then the logical response is like, and what exactly is that enforcement? And when they then don't spell that out in the rules, well, now don't you think then that's at the judge's discretion?
That's what it basically is.
Let's look at Worlds when problem players came up as issues in matches, and they had to bring over people like Alex Davey. Okay, there's nothing in the rules of that time about what to do. And there's Alex at World saying, I am now declaring the following thing. If you do not follow this restriction or obey this ruling I'm about to hand down right now, you're out. Didn't say that anywhere in the rules, and yet that was a decision made at the highest level at Worlds. So why can't we do the same?
Yeah, the goal of the game and the game itself is meant to engage the ships in it. Again, don't just be like, oh, it means I got to joust. What if I don't want to joust? Like, come on, guys. You're smarter than this, right? Like, just you can engage on your terms still. It may not be the, perfect terms in your mind, but very rarely does anyone get the most perfect engagement ever. Like, it's something called trading.
Yeah.
There's something called a favorable trade. You don't just like leave the first engagement with like no damage done to you very rarely. It's what points and what positions can I leverage to gain the advantage for the rest of the game that I can sacrifice this little bit for. So knowing how to correctly trade your resources to gain points is how you can take advantage both in positioning and potential firepower that you have to not just resort to stalling because you want to wait till the very end to then just say, I have more points than you now. Yay.
Right. And to be fair, we are all trying to, it's like we're lawyers and we're trying to interpret the Constitution here or something like this.
Yeah.
It's like until we can have each and every single little instance spelled out in an FAQ or something like that, it's up to interpretation. And unfortunately, when it's up to interpretation because you didn't tell us the exact letter of the law, then it's got to be okay that we made an interpretation and a judgment and went with it. You can't get on someone's case for like, well, I read it this way. So, you made me the judge and I'm sorry you disagree. But until it's spelled out otherwise, we've got to do something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now,
unfortunately,
if
I want to
every
interject
one of
real
us,
quick,
go ahead, Ryan.
I think it has to be interpretation because I think anything they put down in stone can be like, it's just like points that are made in XWing. There's going to come a time where we're going to believe like this isn't enough here or this is too much here. And then we're going to feel like it needs to be flexed one way or the other. I think all games have their own situation, and that's why it might needs to be subjective to the judge's ruling and Marshall at the time for them to say, this is how I need to rule this, or at least set the precedent so your audience and players know when to call or when to expect the need to call a judge.
And all you do is put that what you just said, make it a sentence in the rules guideline, and then done.
Sure. And then God, people, please, like, don't be afraid to call judges.
Holy shit.
Like, the amount of time, like, there was one time I didn't call someone for slow playing, and I angry at myself because it wasn't that I was like super angry with my opponent. Like, I saw the situation, I was like, man, he's just doing something that I think just takes a little too long. And the easiest thing you can do is just be upfront with your opponent. Be like, you know what? I feel like this is a situation that's going on. It's making me feel uncomfortable. I'm going to call a judge and we're going to see how we deal with this situation. Like, just be real with your opponent. If you feel like you're hurting your opponent's interaction with you, just talk it out with them and just say, I'm going to call a judge. We'll see what he says and we'll just move on from there. Right? Just do that.
I'm gonna interrupt you right there because it is.
Oh, I'm done. You're good.
It's not that easy. Okay. This has been a long-standing thing with me. I've had a lot of people almost every tournament like, why didn't you call him a slow judge? Why didn't you call slow? And there's a thing that all of us have. There's either we're there to have fun or there's a lot of us that toe the line of we're there to have fun, we're there to win, right? There's that line. And some of us just go, I should win this game. I should win this game. But man, and I will tell you right now, you are not a lesser person for calling a judge on a slow player. You are not. I know you might think you are, but you're not. Some people just say, I'm going to deal with it. I'll be fine. Whatever. But that doesn't need to be you. I know for a lot of us, it is a very, very hard thing to do, to raise your hand and go judge, and your opponent looks at you and go, well, I'm still like setting dials. What are you calling judge for? And they look at you like you're, and I'm sorry, the person who gets the slow judge call on looks at you like you're probably the worst person in the world.
Can we segue then? You're talking slow play, correct?
Yes.
Well, you're talking about scenarios where maybe that's not fair, correct?
I was just saying, did Coach want to finish? Did he have more to say?
Well, but he just transitioned into slow play, not stalling.
Okay, on the stalling, we'll just put a button in it and saying, I'm sorry, guys. What your judge says is going to go. You're not going to change their mind. You shouldn't try to change their mind. If they sit there and they go, okay, you got judge called you for stalling, and you both have been circling each other, and the judge gets called over, he's going to sit there and watch you for 2 rounds. And if he goes, you both are stalling, you both get warnings, turn in and attack each other. If you don't, I guarantee you on the next turn, the one person that turns in and the one person that doesn't, the one that doesn't is going to get disqualified.
That's probably a bit much. I like Gordon's turn counter
I get
more.
that. I get that.
Because if you get the turn in idea, you get people like, all right, just go joust for now. Like that just needs you to do like you give them a little turn to get the position they want.
But
right.
It's also funny, like if you have the balls enough to say, you guys have 3 turns to attack each other, and then one guy does and the other guy doesn't.
Oh yeah.
Like that judge is gonna go, did you not hear what I just said? Oh, yeah, I heard what you said. He's going to go, I don't think you did. Like, personally, if I was a judge, and if I came up, okay, and I got called for a judge, and it says, well, we're stalling. He's stalling. And I'm like, well, what are you doing? Well, I'm K-turning in the corner. So you both are stalling. You have 4 rounds, like Gordon said. So then I see the next turn, and they both stall. And I'm like, all right, I just changed my mind. You guys have 1 turn to turn into the fucking middle of the board and start engaging each other. If you don't, you're both disqualified and you both lose your ranking. Personally, that's how I would rule. So hopefully I'm not a judge at Gen Con.
All right, can we segue slightly because we're dancing back and forth between stalling versus slow play.
Which technically it's kind of
it's weird.
It's an interweaving thing.
I've only tried to chime in when we were talking about the stalling issue. I have very specific thoughts on slow play.
Okay. Yeah, I think you've heard very convincing arguments about stalling. I think Gordon's rule, the new Gordon rule, let's call it.
Don't you dare, because then if that takes away the old one. I see what you're doing. Baby. No, sir. This is not a Gordon rule.
Gordon Rule 2.0. I think it's very valid to go to both players and say, you guys have 4 rounds. If you have not engaged by then, you're both disqualified.
Or have not, or they're not in a game state in which they will be engaging in successive turns.
And at the same time, you can't penalize the guy who's like, okay, well, I'm going to hard turn everyone, and I'm going to go after him. Okay, so and then you hard turn and then one forward towards your opponent. You may not have engaged, but the other opponent's still sitting in his corner or stalling. You know what? Like Gordon said, it's like porn. Okay, I know when I see stalling, and that guy is stalling. This guy is actually making concerted effort. You lose the game. He wins 200-0. Go home and don't do this again.
It's a social. It's not even like a social contract, but it is a contract of sorts, similar to a social contract. We all abdicate authority to the judge. The judge makes the ruling. You
And
know?
we have to.
And we
this
have to
game
trust.
wouldn't survive if
Right.
it didn't
We have
have a
to trust.
judge.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
basically, I'm just going to default to Chico, whatever he has about this whole stalling thing. I want to talk about slow play specifically, if you don't mind.
Nope. Go ahead.
Can I make a segue to it?
Oh, hold on.
Oh, yeah. Don't allow me. Yes, please do your job.
Patrick, this is where you superimpose the Ryan on a Segway and you Star Wars wipe this baby.
So segue, because this stalling and slow play kind of intermix with Chris Allen, of all people, had brought up a really good phrase or term to mention that when each of you and your opponent are both in the game state of one of you or both of you are stalling or slow playing, you're in a way negotiating with each other the entire time to find out how far can each or one of us go before the other one calls you on it. And if as it goes further along, the negotiations continue to favor the person that may want to stall the game further or slow play further. So the more you let it go, the more it favors the person that seems to be the abuser of the rules. So the other part about
what's the solution to that?
Just don't negotiate for too long. Like, call a judge when you feel the big thing is
call a judge. Okay.
Call a judge when you feel uncomfortable. And honestly, like it's a little bit weirder and worse if you just like randomly in the middle of a game just yell judge and you don't say anything to your opponent. Like, that feels really odd. I always feel better that when I want to call a judge, I say, most of the time it's for art calls and rulings or whatever. And I say, hey, let's just call a judge and see what they think. And I say it out loud to them and they're like, yeah, sure, whatever. And so we call a judge. If I come up to that situation where I feel it's stalling or slow play, I will look at them straight in the eye and I will say, I feel uncomfortable about this situation and this game right now because you are either A, stalling, or B, slow playing. I'm going to call a judge right now and we'll see what he says about it. And no matter what he says, we'll move on from the game from there. And I don't want to have any hard feelings, and then call judge.
Hey,
so
there's not a single soul on this planet that is not going to listen to that very reasonable answer you just gave and go, that makes sense. And guess what? You just took away half the population because they don't have the ability to advocate for themselves.
No, you're going to take half away the population because they think it's a good idea, but they're never going to do it.
Right, at a minimum.
Because the social interaction is so high.
Correct.
Like, I don't want you to think bad of me.
Am I an extrovert? Am I an introvert? Am I even aware this is taking place? That, in other words, I may not advocate for myself because I didn't even bother to figure out that the slow place is taken on. And then two, suddenly this now became awkward and it was a really good time. I don't want to be that guy or that player. No, this.
I can tell you from experience, it feels so much worse when you don't say something about it.
I agree, but you are talking about getting over a barrier that for many people is an impossibility.
Sure.
Even though they are in the wrong for not standing up for themselves. Yes, Mark?
Geeks and nerds are so socially accountable to each other anyway. I mean, that's the reason they go sit in the corner and count magic cards.
Yep.
So, by the way, then, if you're a bystander or a friend of someone who you feel like this is happening to, you don't need to be loud about it. Just go get a judge and kind of chat with them for a bit. Help your friends out.
Oh, nope.
Why? Why not?
I totally don't agree with that. 100%.
Why?
That gets into that whole spectator thing that we already dealt with a long time ago.
But it can't, by the rules, doesn't say the spectator can inform a judge about a situation anyway.
I get that. And as you're saying it, it's a good thing to do, but it's going to be misconstrued in the wrong way eventually down the line. And then we're going to have a whole conversation about this on this podcast again about
interference,
audience interference, and I get it. Like if man, and
All right.
Kyle, if Kyle was on the show, I've seen this done with Kyle, and I knew he was in the wrong, and I knew not Kyle, but his opponent, and I didn't say anything because I just went up to Kyle. I went, Kyle, you need to call a judge. Not somebody going to a judge and say, hey, you need to go watch that game. I would agree with someone saying to the player, you need to call a judge, and then it's upon the player to call the judge over.
That sounds like more outside interference than them going to a judge and not mentioning it to the players and just tell the judge to keep an eye on it.
Oh, man. Yeah, and it's a huge gray area. It's such...
So as much as I love milking a topic for all it's worth, as a host on a different show, and as appealing as all this is to me, to beat the dead horse, can we cut to the chase?
Yes.
Go for it.
Sorry.
This can't be solved with the exception of one solution, which will never take place, but it will be the solution.
And that is...
Yeah, no. Dramatic pause. A chess clock.
Fuck yeah, dramatic pause.
Chess
I thought
clock.
you pulled a mark on us and just dropped out.
Chess clock.
Putting a chess clock into the game.
You have spend your time how you want. Okay? It's a competitive game. I guarantee you, those who travel to tournaments will get a hold of them. They are cheap. They can be provided. It's no different than a venue providing the mats to play on. Oh, look, and there's a chess clock to go with the mat. It takes care of the problem.
Talk about fucking getting off the topic.
That is not getting off the topic.
That is way off the topic.
How is it off the topic?
Not if it's mentioned about slow play, because here's the thing about a chess clock too, is it's your total time that can be used during the game, not just dial time. The slow playing I had experience with was not because of dials. It was because something else that happened during the other phases of the game that took an extra amount of time.
Okay. With Gordon, I agree with you. Everyone can download a chess clock on their phone. You just set it next to the board, and okay, here we go.
But I need to know how much time you have as well.
God forbid if FFG wants to fucking make an app for a goddamn dial route.
I mean, unfortunately, we kind of hope we don't have to get to that point. Like, if there's any other way around it, but
honestly, Ryan, it's already reached it.
It's probably there.
It reached that point long ago.
It's there.
It is the only solution.
And you know what? I kind of agree with Gordon that it would separate. I would in place a time clock in hyperspace trials, system opens.
Yeah, maybe it's a minimum level tournament or above or something. Sure.
You go up that level. Now, unfortunately, they got rid of the store championships, which sucks because that was the best way for new players to get involved. It was a super casual way to do it. Now we have hyperspace trials where there's a minimum of 64 people, and there's a huge prize at the end of it. I feel like FFG let us down on that just mid-level, I'm a new player, I'm going to go experience a tournament. And I will discuss a little bit in the after show about something that happened at one of these things that shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen because it was a hyperspace trial compared to what it should have been as a store championship level. But no, I half of me wants to say Gordon is absolutely right.
Well, let's listen to the wisdom of the chat. So comment here is people will still list build for final salvo with timed. So what is the consequence of that? In other words, let's say someone actually does run out of time or something like that. Then what?
So I think
what happens to the game state?
As mentioned, actually on the recent Mayo Sox. I think final salvo is an incorrect way to solve ties in the game.
Oh man, don't tell me you want to go back to the old way.
What do you deem the old way?
That's the margin of error. It's the margin.
What if it was 0-0? How do you resolve the tie? Just give them a tie.
We don't want to do that. We don't want to do
There's
that.
people vying for, if people don't even want to engage anyway, there's intentional draws. There's now I can see one side of this, which is the person who gets second player. If it's a tie, the first player wins, because generally when things move after other things in the same initiative, the problem is when you have a game where the initiative numbers don't match up at all, that just means the person's just going to take first player and they inherently have an advantage. So there's that, unfortunately, that could occur. Those are the two most common things I've heard, which is instead of final salvo, you allow intentional draws, or at least allow draws to occur, and you give them, like, instead of one whole point, you give them a half a point, right? So there could be tournaments where you end 5.5 or 4.5 or whatever it is. So
here, let me throw something out to you. Would alternating initiative, not alternating, but like a dice roll or something, because a lot of these stalemates happen because we either A, have both initiatives the same, or B, it's just not a conducive attack environment. If you alternated initiatives, or say your ones have to move
you
first.
take away. I speculated this on a couple episodes ago because I brought a list to be able to dance around at I6, and I was convinced other people weren't going to bring stuff where they were initiative diving. And so I was okay with I forget where I was at. I was at like 197 or something like that. And I was on the high end of it. All kinds of people brought 196 and 195, and then someone brought a handbrake Han that just went super low. And here I am with my I6 list, and I was greedy because I wanted all of my toys. And I had a miserable time because here I am with my Vader having to move first, and it sucked. And so I was speculating out loud, well, this can't be good. What can we do? Can we do alternate? Can we just roll for it every time regardless, and we're forced to spend our maximum 200? And there was just tons of responses like, that is the dumbest idea that I've ever heard, and they went into all the reasons why. It's not, no, you can't do that.
And I guess what we're ultimately going towards is do what we discuss actually going to happen? And if that actually happens, is it going to make the game better? Or are we going to sit here and bitch about the same thing a year from now?
probably.
I'm going to go with unless a better known podcast picks up on what we're talking about tonight, implements what we're talking about. No. And even then, I think FFG, I'm sorry, FFG is a stalwart. They're not going to change their ways. Do they listen to us? Yes. Do they listen to us? No.
I don't know.
Not all the time, but
a lot of talk has referenced last year's Worlds, where, like, when those fortressing things were called and Davey was on the floor going around, he had multiple discussions with people where he's like, this is just bad.
But
like, they implemented the fortressing rule, but in some cases it might not be enough.
I guess let me put the question out there. Do we have enough instances where fortressing and stalling? I mean, I know we're on the slow play now, but maybe this question should have been asked a while ago. Are there enough instances where it's an actual problem? Is it just
stalling? Would have been a problem if they hadn't said in the rules, we're giving you 2 turns and then you're penalized.
Okay.
It's not even just the 2-turn thing. You look at lists like, especially quad phantoms.
Yes.
You're just Tokyo drifting your way around the board, and they have to come to you. And if they come to you, they're eating all those juke dice, right? And then there's also Rebel Beef that I can stay where I want, but I'm also moving, quote unquote.
But FFG doesn't listen to us. They listen to they see the meta or the data. Anyway, sorry for taking us off topic.
Oh, no. I think 2 other things that could be mentioned. So interesting, like when you mentioned rolling dice, like, I don't know, what if at a tie at the end of the game, you just flip a coin? see who wins. You want to leave it to a 50-50, leave it to a 50-50.
You know, to tell you the truth, I don't have a problem with the final salvo.
Okay. Now,
At the end, you built a better list than they did. I think that is a valid.
But if you don't
way.
get these rules right, as far as stalling, slow
If
play,
you don't-
whatever,
if you don't get the
then you
rules
have
right-
then you have an arms race towards final salvo.
Yes,
which
yes.
isn't good for the game either.
Yes.
Correct.
If you don't have some floor rules where your judges, if it all comes down to the player, if the players don't recognize stalling, slow play, or this and that, they're not going to get called by the judges. The judges are there to make those rulings. They're there to make those hard rulings. A lot of us think the judges are there to make, oh, well, is this an arc? Is this an arc? And they're there to do that as well. But their real purpose is to go, is that person degenerating the game as it's supposed to be played? And if so, they're DQ'd. That's the ultimate goal of the judge, is to make the gameplay as pure as possible. It's never going to be pure, but as pure as possible. And that's what stalling, that's what slow play, that's what list building towards these things does, is it ruins the purity of the game. We all thought 2.0 was going to be the genesis of all this stuff is going to be gone. You know, it's going to be straight up flying and skill.
Well, that's the huge disappointment, Coach. We all thought
it is
that if they fix 1.0, they fix all of the infinite defense, and that we're actually going to see stuff reward attack dice, and we're going to watch stuff blow up, and we got half points where you get even more incentivized to attack everything, and all instead we're seeing our games going to time after time after time. We're not seeing stuff die like we thought we would.
Sure, and but I will say what they've done is definitely working towards a better game, right? I think the one thing that has also been commonly mentioned and has been mentioned a few times in the chat is implementing objectives, scoreable objectives in competitive X-Wing that force things to happen around X points in the game, to where not only could you be dissuaded from stalling, because then your opponent can go get an objective and then you're not getting points. On top of that, if people are concerned about the mid to late game running of ships, if they run but your opponent stays on the objective, there's a reason to come back and keep fighting. Yeah. So I think objectives in a correctly implemented manner can actually do a lot.
Sure. We have examples of it in 1.0 when, right, those podcasts put together their own version. Yep. We've seen it in all the other games, right? The chat's been going on about this point, but like Imperial Assault is a great example. It's like the rotation of the maps and of the objectives really determines, is this a kill 'em all match, or is this this is an objective game? Can you build a list that can do either or?
Yeah, because you could still win by killing them, but you could also win by objective points. And I think a lot of people in a lot of other, like when I tried out Legion, when I went on a weekend and borrowed someone's list, when I, tried out Imperial Assault and Armada, all those games had objectives, and it all seemed to add another layer of strategy. I'm surprised we haven't seen that layer of strategy in competitive X-Wing yet.
It's because the game was always built around flying, and then because of all the different card combinations, they allowed that aspect of the game to get away from them.
Hey, Mark, what was the best year of X-Wing?
Well,
what was the best year of X-Wing?
I've liked all of them.
Come on. You and I both know the correct answer to this.
This year is the best year of X-Wing.
No.
When you let me finish.
Okay, I'm sorry.
But my first tournament at Gen Con, that was the best year of X-Wing, because nobody had a meta figured out. Nobody but Doug Kenny had figured out Ty's,
Yeah, nobody.
and we were scared of rocks. Um, that was
Mark?
that was the best year, maybe.
All right, quick survey question. Gordon, when did you get into X-Wing?
2012, first year it came out.
2012. Okay, so you're valid. Ryan, I think you came in at 2015.
Wave late.
Wave late, 2015. 2016.
Whenever episode 7 came out.
Oh shit, that was 2016. Okay. So sorry, Ryan, but I'm gonna devote this question to Gordon and Mark.
Understandable.
Okay. We've gone through a first edition and now a second edition. And as old timers of the game, I just want a yes or no answer. Do you believe the game is better now than it was in 2013?
No.
Mark?
I'm going to say no.
Okay, Gordon, why?
Game was fantastic, and then the Phantoms came out, and it was been a nosedive ever since.
It's always the Phantoms. It's the Phantom Menace. It's the Phantom Menace.
No, look, I was the biggest abuser of Phantoms out there, just like everybody else.
I was.
It was
too.
my favorite ship.
Yep.
But I'd be lying if I didn't realize it broke things. I'd be lying if I didn't see people start to quit from that.
Mark?
No one quit up until that point.
Yes.
Where did you see X-Wing turn?
Ooh.
Now, I should probably preface this. Where did you see X-Wing turn to go?
Sideways?
Probably from like, a good old, what I like to call a beer and pretzels game, to what now is, Jesus, we're up to like 36 fucking podcasts, 2 live, like 6 live streams, and
yeah, but isn't that exciting that a beer and pretzels game that started in 2012 has reached the popularity where 36 podcasts and 6 live streams and interest from around the world, and getting Icelandic alcohol that will burn your brains out, and having people contact you from around the world, just not from your local game store. That's exciting. But the pure joy of playing X-Wing was when I first stumbled across the first core set and going, what the hell is this? Because I didn't know it was even being developed. I literally stumbled on it when they opened up the game box at the game store, and the guy says, "You know anything about this?" And I said, "Yeah, it's mine."
If I was to tell you, Coach, quote, the greatest game ever played, what am I referring to?
it would probably be Adepticon Saturday night at I believe
Shut up. No.
probably like 11:30 p.m.
If I was to say, quote unquote, the greatest game of X-Wing ever played, which match am I referring to?
You've got there's 2.
There's one.
No, there's one. It's got to be Paul Heaver versus Morgan Reed.
No, that would be Dallas Parker.
Ooh, I might.
Because here's what happened. Team Covenant made that Worlds video, and we got to see the finals of Heaver versus Dallas, and to watch it go back and forth.
No,
that's
it wasn't
when
the finals. It wasn't the
yes, it was.
finals.
That was the finals, and it was on everyone's radar. That game had everything.
Oh yeah, okay.
And that's when it crossed over from just obscure little niche thing into more of the gamers. That's when it went viral. That's what got me on board. That's when everyone around me started talking about it. It's when it really started to take off.
I would probably argue that it was Morgan Reed versus Paul Heaver when he four-strated his
everyone
Falcon.
thought he was a wizard.
Everyone thought he was going to rock it.
I know, and when he didn't, everyone
he thought he was probably going to rock it.
But it was already a big game by then.
But it was cleared, and
I'm not saying it wasn't a great moment. I'm just saying.
I mean, if we're going to look
not the
back
greatest game of X-Wing ever played
on the ESPN greatest hits, That or Dallas. I'm going to say him clearing those rocks.
Go into Google and type greatest game of X-Wing ever played and tell me what
I'm gonna
links
do
come
that.
up. Do that.
Greatest game of X-Wing.
It'll probably come up a
ever
video game.
played.
It's probably me versus Kyle, which I
so
labeled
if you
greatest.
if you want to go by the video results that came up first, it's X-Wing Worlds 2013.
Ooh,
That's Heaver.
That's Heaver Morgan.
No.
No, that's Hegan Dallas.
That's Heaver Dallas.
Heaver Dallas. All right.
Now,
all right.
The first
I bow
X-Wing,
down to the mayonnaise socks colonel.
Yep. The first game of X-Wing I ever watched was Heaver and ID. So Worlds 2 for Paul.
Ooh, you did join late.
Yeah, well.
I'm sorry, but those Heaver ID matches are something to be.
ID's always got great matches.
X-Wing to me is always an existential thing. It's always, why do people listen to us? Why do people watch X-Wing on why is there 600 people on a Wednesday afternoon watching Fantasy Flight's debut of Wave 4? And it's that big. It is that big. And why we don't have rules to regulate, because man, I'm not going to go into this until the after show when it's not a part of the recorded podcast. But do you remember when there was that little area where X-Wing was on fly casual, like the top? Like everyone was like, the community was up here. It was nothing but like, yeah, go ahead. No, I want you to take that back. This and that and that. And then there was a plateau, and then it dove. The competitiveness got to the community. I want to say it was around the 2016, 2017 era. And that's when we started to see all these Reddit rants and all these forum rants. And
when did the Ghost come out?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Phantom was the first. The response though was Fat Han.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then TLTs come out, and then no more Fat Han. Okay, then Dangaroo comes about.
Oh God!
And everyone's
Dangaroo
like, "Oh my God!"
Dangaroo broke the ceiling.
Right?
It was,
and then it's Jump Masters and all of that, and 3 different nerfs,
and
then Ghost and TLTs.
Yeah, but it was. I want to say, it was the Dangaroo era, where everyone was. That's when the podcast explosion happened, and that's when everyone was talking about Dangaroo, and everybody took Dangaroo. And
2016, I agree. Right, I joined Stand Target 2016. Yeah,
and then after that, it just went. It went from the beer and pretzels to a competitive game. Now, I'm not complaining that it made the jump, because I mean, for any board, in this market, any game that can reach that level has sustained itself, and it's great. But we all have to recognize what comes along with that, and it is the downside of fly casual. It is the antithesis of what Doug Kenny tried to build the community. When's the last time you heard anyone mention Doug Kenny and fly casual in a podcast? I would bet you a year ago, at least a year ago.
No, I think it's been a little earlier. It's mentioned in passing sometimes.
It's like one of those antique things. Like, oh yeah, remember those days? It's like, what happened?
He burned his bridges by losing his mind over Virginia Gate Regional, where everyone took an intentional draw.
Yeah.
And his language attacking our hallowed savior Paul Heaver basically exiled him from the community.
Roanoke.
The inevitable Roanoke.
I'll just take the fact that a lot of people from last year's Worlds had mentioned that my game with Simeon, what they believed was actually the best game. The top cut. So
yes.
I very much enjoyed that game, sir.
I was so happy I got to watch that game because other than changing a tire and trying to find out what the fuck happened to his tire.
Granted, I know the mistakes I made, and I felt like it wasn't the best I played.
You know what? You know what was great about your game? It was the last bastion of 1.0. And there was no ghosts. There was no Fen. There was no... It was like, oh my God, how did these lists make it? Let's see how it was like a colossal matchup. And it was, oh my God.
I will say both lists had their own level of degeneracy, though, even though they weren't like the main meta thing.
You were playing the game, but if you could take a stress level of the crowd watching the game, it was 3,000.
Yeah, I never got the feel of the crowd and
holy
afterwards.
Shit.
So,
well, I can tell you right now, the OCX crowd was on pins and needles the entire fucking time. But
and the thing that's really a shame is that FFG just said, well, that wasn't one of the top games, so we won't keep the video.
Yeah.
Right?
I did not know that. Is that video gone?
No, it's gone.
Hold on.
No way.
I think it's gone.
I've never been able to find it.
Pretty sure it's gone. I tried to look for it the other day because somebody mentioned it, and
because it's not archived, as far as I know.
I know. Gold Squadron has my top 16 with Charles Holcomb.
Right.
Yeah, but that's not the game we're looking for.
I know.
but it was superbly commentated.
So FFG, please, dear God, if you have a soul and you listen to the OCX radio podcast, please, I beg of you, put that back up, because that was possibly one of the most bonkers fucking game anyone's ever seen.
Careful what you wish for. You beg FFG to listen, they're going to send you a cease and desist, Coach.
I got nothing.
They're going to enforce their IP policy.
You know what? Cease and desist away. You know what?
Okay.
Until I actually have some money thrown my way, then it's Gordon's show, and I will cease and desist. It's GCX from now on, baby.
What a really bad idea that is.
All right,
end this thing, dude.
We're gonna yub-nub this, baby. Because I think, well, first let's do some shout-outs. If anyone has any shout-outs, let's start with Gordon.
Oh, shout out to French for the most amazing intro to Stay on Target ever.
Sure. Okay.
Oh, good. And Mark took his headphones off, so he didn't hear any of that. Excellent.
Okay, so little critique, French.
You already did.
You did a good job, but I felt that there was a lot more you got to dig down deep for that good morning. You got to man. Now, it comes from the diaphragm.
He sounded on. It sounded good.
He did. Well, you laughing in the background didn't help either.
He did that as a surprise, too. I had my own anti-OCX opening ready. I was going to continue. I was going to do a playoff of the bit. And Franch is a passive personality, and he overruled me and says, no, I am doing my opening. I have worked on it. Shut up and listen. And I was like, who are you? And what have you done with Franch? And then he just goes right into it, and we start recording. And I was like, oh, right on.
Franch, you did a fantastic job. I loved every minute. I have literally played that thing over like 4 or 5 times.
There, thank you. Thank you.
Just because I'm like, A, do I really sound like that? Or B, You know, a lot of people can't do what I do.
That is correct.
In French, you can do what I do, buddy.
I thought he was a little closer than a lot of other OCX. Remember when we tried all of we all tried the intro, right? And we all screwed it up. I thought French was closer.
I vaguely remember that.
Okay.
Let's not remember the 100th episode. And please, dear God, don't start on the 100th episode. At least go 99 and then work into that. Like, that's just bad.
Mark, shout out.
The guys on Stay on Target.
Oh, suck up.
I don't think so.
That's not a shout out. That's an insult.
That's it, Mark?
That's it.
No fan club shout out? Fuck you. I'll shout out Uncle Mark's fan club. Thank you, everyone, for being a part of Uncle Mark's fan club. The only fan club of the OCX Aces radio podcast, who is legit awesome. There, I budged in line. Brian?
Shout out to the secretive, behind the scenes Judge Illuminati. They're there to help us figure out the stuff that we don't think about, and if we think about it, we bring it to them, and then they discuss it a lot, and they come up with solid rules that we will utilize until FFG says otherwise. And for all the judges that assisted with this first full or mostly full season of System Opens, most cases I heard everything was fine, other than sometimes BCP crashing and then Cryodex saving their asses. So, woo! Thanks, judges. You're all great people.
I'm gonna ditto that, and also I want to congratulate Australia for finally getting Wave 4 before anyone else. Too bad you had to return your product and put it back on the back shelves, which they didn't.
They're actually podcasting on.
I know. They're mocking us, which they have the right to do. So good for you, Australia. You're finally first. Don't get used to it. I want to shout out. Florida Man Podcast. First of all, because you're an awesome podcast. Second of all, your episode with Ryan Ontopsky was excellent. I don't know how Ryan didn't know about Florida Man. I didn't clue him in.
What do you mean I didn't know?
Oh,
I
no,
was
you
one
knew
of the
about Florida Man.
first ones to
Other
give him a
people.
shout out.
No. I mean, like, what actually happens in Florida?
Oh, yeah.
You didn't know there was like a running thing that's what happens. In Florida.
Same with me. I was aware of the podcast before I knew there's a daily news article on what a crazy Florida man has done.
Holy shit.
I was aware of the Florida thing, as I mentioned on the episode, that like there's a local news station that always does a segment called Florida's Effed Up, and it's always just a news episode about Florida.
It's all 100% true. I can tell you that because I lived there for 2 years, and I was like, oh my God, I need to get the fuck out of here. I want to shout out to what the fuck is their podcast name? Okay, I might get this wrong, but I think it's the Worst Coast Children's Podcast.
What?
Am I getting that right?
Isn't that the thing that Zach
Worst
Matthews
Coast
spawned?
Children's Podcast? I think that's right. It's the one with they make fun of Zach Matthews all the time. They're a new podcast. Man, do you guys need to get microphones? I downloaded your third episode and I could not hear you. So get some better equipment. Stop putting Zach Matthews on your header. That might work too. But I saw your in the car karaoke with the mayonnaise socks. Mano socks, whatever we're calling them these days. Anyway, Want to give them a shout out. I think it's the Worst Coast Children's Podcast. It's not for children. I want to thank you. I want to thank Gordon. I know you could probably do like a YouTube splice of just me thanking Gordon. But I don't think Gordon gets enough credit. He's got the best voice in X-Wing. He really does. And I don't give out host memberships for nothing. So
remember when you do.
And I don't remember what I do. So when I do, it must have been a subconscious thing. The subconscious went, you know what? That fucking Gordon Berg, he really needs to have host memberships. I want to thank everyone else who listens. I want to thank all my patrons. Oh, shit. Fuck. How did I forget this? Okay, Patreons. Everything should be sent out. If you haven't gotten cards, they're coming soon. Templates are there. You should have gotten them by now, unless you're in Australia or fucking England or wherever. If you haven't gotten them, it's because I ran out. I already put an emergency order in Andrew Knuckles, which, holy shit, I cannot tell you how awesome it is when I go, hey, Andrew, how busy are you? He goes, for you, not that busy. I
Nice.
go, perfect. I need $250 worth of templates. He goes, done. So, yay me! I'm in with big acrylic. But for those of you who haven't gotten templates yet, you will be getting them as soon as I get them, and they will be shipped right out. Now the big thing, the jerseys. The jerseys are on sale. If you haven't seen the Facebook post, I don't know if you're a real fan then, because I pretty much blasted it everywhere. I know they're a little expensive, but they're going to be full-fledged jerseys. You get to put your own name on the back. If you're wondering why you can't change the number, you can blame Timothy Hames, Tim, the rules guru Adams, and fuck it, we'll just throw out who's the other culprit in the chat?
All of them.
All of them. This number 2 is in memoriam of Charles Baker, aka Lieutenant Ketch, who I think was the original starter of the 2, and the 2 means that they disagree with whatever I say, and therefore that's why it's called the chat disagrees with whatever. I don't know what it's called. But anyway, the jersey is going to be fantastic. It's going to be great. It's going to be actual jersey. It's not the dry tech. It's actual jersey. So if you guys want to, don't care if you don't, do care if you do, go ahead and get yourself an OCX jersey. If you have any complaints, or fuck, we're not doing bad list submissions anymore. If you have any complaints, you can send that shit off to feedback@backtodials.com. If you have anything that you want to see us do new on the show, you can send that to ocxradio@gmail.com. If you want Gordon back permanently on the show,
Thank God everyone's gone to bed.
someone will start a Facebook post on the OCX Aces Facebook. If you're not a part of that, you should be. It's where all the real fun is. Somebody can start a poll. It's probably going to be Sunterfell, which means that they want Gordon back on the show. We'll go with Biggs Darklighter. No, we don't want Gordon back on the show.
Yeah.
And
I think you're confused how this works. I come and go as I please, sir.
well, not if the poll says you have to be on. The
Yeah,
show.
but if you give them the option to vote me off the island, they're voting me off the island. You can't do that.
You can't vote against Sunterfell. I gave you the Sunterfell clutch because we're all sheep and we need to vote for Sooterfell.
I'm gonna ignore whatever it is they come up with. You know? A year from now, when the mood strikes, and I feel like hopping back
Ladies
on
and
again,
gentlemen, thank you for listening to the OCX Radio Podcast. I want to thank all my guest hosts, my guests, everybody. We're gonna send us off into the Yum No.
You know, I've never yapped up once. I just don't have it in me.
By the way, I found the link, but it won't load the video, so it has been taken down 100%.
Boo.
Boo. Timestamps, by the way.
11:49.
I'm pouring that. There you go.
Got it.
Okay, so to go into my whole eluding of the whole thing. So I had a local. I had two locals actually. Representing OCX local. Go up to Fargo, North Dakota.
Oh boy.
Yep. And both of them actually have won hyperspace trial. They're going to Worlds. Actually, no, John didn't. He got runner up. No, he didn't. Fuck, I don't remember. Anyway, so John, who is an older gentleman, we got into XWing. His local shop's in Spencer, which is about 40 miles away, but he comes here because we play competitive XWing. And he's a competitive player. Now, he will tell you what you're doing wrong if he sees that you're doing something wrong. Like, he's not going to go, oh, man, you totally fucked up on that move. You know, guess what I did? He's one of those guys that will tell you while the game is going what you did wrong to make you a better player. Now, it turns out the first person he played, this was his first tournament. Now, this is a hyperspace trial, and it's for a big prize, right? You're not supposed to get, I mean, you're going to get the first-time players, but they're first-time players. So John, according to his account, was telling him, just let you know that they can do this maneuver and they can do that maneuver. They can take this action, this and that. He's trying to help the guy out while he's playing the game, which I've found out is something you shouldn't do in a tournament setting. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, turns out this guy had a very bad negative experience playing John. Because he was tissed. Well, actually, he decided to go to Reddit. Which, why wouldn't we all go to Reddit on our first tournament loss? That seems like the place to go. Immediately said, my dice were bad. He rolled nothing but hits and crits. I rolled nothing but blanks. As a previous poster said, I read that sentence and went, nope, not going to read it anymore because you're blaming all of your bad experiences on your dice. But I read further and he said, wow, my opponent was tisking all of my moves and did this and did that and was a super D-bag. And I immediately said, well, this can't be John. And John goes, no, that was me.
Whoa.
I went, well, that's interesting. And I tried to put myself into a new player playing against John. And I could see where he would misconstrue helpful advice to demoralizing his choices. And I want to just go out on statement and saying, guys, if it's your first tournament and someone tells you that you did something wrong after the game, he's trying to help you, not rub it in your face. please, dear God, all new players, and I know there's no new players listening to this episode, but don't misconstrue helpful criticism with what's the word I'm thinking of? Criticism. Like, just like, well, that move fucked you up. It's not. He's trying to tell you that you had this other dial maneuver. He knows your dial better than you do. He's trying to help you out. Don't go on Reddit and make a fucking huge ass rant on how your first opponent at your first tournament was a huge D-bag and that he relished in his in victory when he didn't. He was just trying to help you out. Don't mix those two things up. Don't mix up helpful criticism with like, okay, this is what you did wrong. You're a terrible player. Don't do that. He's trying to help you out for your next round. Man, that I said I wasn't going to do it during the podcast, and I'm very proud that I didn't. But that just chapped my ass because I know I played with this guy for 2 years. There's no way he's a D-bag. There's no way what they claimed he did, he did.
Isn't it possible that just some personalities don't click?
Yes.
Definitely.
It totally is. And I get that. I understand that. Like maybe, like I said, maybe he just misconstrued what John was trying to tell him. But to go on Reddit...
How old was the opponent?
Oh, he's old. He's a coach in a high school. Which makes
old.
the whole thing mind-blowing. Like, you're a coach. You teach younger children how to be sportsmen. Like, how did you not understand what was going on there? And I'm not going to call the guy out. And maybe John did. I mean, John is John. His way of telling you that you did something wrong is probably not the best way to do it, but
you can stop right there, man. If until you get to know a personality, you're making he's an acquired taste argument, but trust me, he's a good guy. But on first interaction in a tournament, your first tournament, you have anxiety, and some guy who's kicking your ass is talking down to you. I know that's not what he did, but if that's how it comes across,
but that's how it came across, and that's exactly what I'm saying. That's fine. Like if you thought he was coming across at you, I would have thought he would have been like, dude, come on, why you downplay me like this? Instead of bottling it inside and then letting it loose on Reddit, where oh my god, there was like, I mean, I think today there's still like 103 comments on this thread.
Because it's so much easier to post something on the internet than to actually have a personal interaction with somebody.
And I know we're casting stones at this guy because he's not here to defend himself. So
no, I'm okay. First of all, it may seem I did originally. I was like, "Fuck this guy," you know this. But then I thought about it more. I'm like, I don't think he realized what John was doing. And if you don't have someone that's very good at it, you can see it as that way. You can go, well, why are you shit talking me at the end of the game? You won. Why are you doing this?
Right.
Don't bottle it inside. Guys, don't bottle it inside. Confront the person that's doing that.
You're asking the impossible, man.
It's just like calling a judge on a slow player.
What if he is not capable of confrontation, but he's got to process this?
Right. I'm just I'm airing it out that you got.
The exact same thing happened to me. We had a player in one of our local tournaments. Everybody knows who he is. Everyone knows how he can get.
Be nice to Tommy.
No. I will tell you it wasn't Tommy. And at one point, it was driving me batshit how he was just so much being himself that I said in the middle of this 14-player tournament in front of everybody, Player X, can you just stop being a penis? I shouted it across the store.
Did you actually say penis?
Yes.
Oh,
Now-
okay. All right.
Now-
you might have.
It
We
had
have
the
to have
intended
live
effect.
video from now on.
It had the intended effect. It shut him the hell up.
Yeah.
And I'm on a podcast. I'm already known as a podcast person. I'm known and have a reputation for being a community builder and a community organizer. Was that very community building or community organizing on my part?
Yes.
No.
No,
I
it wasn't.
understand that everyone who is aligned with my thinking may agreed with my approach to the problem.
Actually, I'm going to cut you off right there. It was not community building to that person,
No.
but it was community building to everyone around you.
The
But
needs
okay,
of the
if
needs of
you
the majority
want-
weigh out
if-
the needs of the few.
If you want to go research how it went over, you can probably still find the thread he started in the FFG forums where he did not name me, but he basically said this person is known as a community organizer and builder, and he flat out called me a whatever, and I don't know what I was doing, and I don't know how to handle this, guys. What do I do? And man, did the pitchforks and torches come out, and was I crucified? And no one knew it was me. And I'm already known at this point, right? What am I going to do? Hop on that thread and go wrong? Because as I thought about it, he's right. Just because I may have had a point that was valid, that was not the way to go about it.
Right?
We are now best of buds because we aired it out.
Did you start that XWing forum thread? Because I think you should.
Did I what?
Why did you not start the XWing forum thread that says, hey, this is what happened, this is what happened, and now we've reconciled our differences? I mean, if anything, the X-Wing forum needs some goddamn positivity. This
happened a couple years ago, and the last thing I was going to do was get an argument in the internet with him.
That forum needs something in the fucking crates or the
point
best podcast thing.
Is I've seen this happen before where he knows all of us, but I evidently freaked him the hell out, and he needed to process it.
Yep.
And so since I know the guy personally, and I know I was the one who did it, even though I feel like I'm in the right and I'm going to heaven for it, I know I probably could have handled it differently. And I don't blame him for going to the forum to get some validation and to be able to process what was clearly freaking him out. Let's say the same thing happened to this here.
No.
Okay.
Going to
I'm just saying, I've seen it before.
Going to social media to gain validation from people who weren't there. That's a one person. That's a one person's hand argument.
Lives that they can process this. This is traumatic stuff. What if they don't have that?
Well, then they're not a very good human being.
Serves you right. You're with a bunch of nerds. Told you not to spend all that money on that stupid game. What are you going to do?
That's what I'm saying. Is
what about your buddy? Your buddy that says where
you know what? I'm very proud of him. He did not rebut on Reddit. He didn't say anything. A couple of his friends did.
What about your friend that we've talked about on the show where he says we're his community because he doesn't have anyone? What if he was to go to a tournament and get freaked out and needed to talk to someone about it? Social media is his only venue. You can't assume we are all socially adjusted, fabulously liked people. That's the exception.
You know what? You bring up a very good point,
If
Gordon.
everybody was my personality and your personality, Aaron, you know how many fucking podcasts we'd have? Oh my God.
37?
More.
I mean, how many more can we get?
More.
You know what chaps my ass? These fucking Minox are going to rebrand themselves, and then they're going to turn around and go, I want to be a candidate for best new podcast for Goldies.
I want you to read the chat. Mark brings up a good point, and I'm assuming Mark is siding with me and not you. What's the difference between him airing it out in a forum or airing it out on a podcast? Tell me the difference.
Ooh. I am a local figure, and people can see my face, and they can, believe me, people get a hold of me all the time whether
they're
I
not
want
afraid
them
to have
to
a-
or
The
not.
point is, it's a
And coach
venue
is not
in which
afraid
the
to have
other
a
side
camera
is
on
not.
him.
The point is, it's a venue in which the other side is not able to defend themselves. It's unfair.
I get it. I get it. But if you have to vent your frustration about a board game
It wasn't the
to
board
gain
game.
validation,
Imagine this. You're only proving his point. He's going to have fun, and he experienced the complete opposite. That is traumatic shit.
Okay, my question is, if he was being such a penis and it had to be pointed out to him, how much fun was everybody else around him having?
You are talking about the fact you are making an assumption that a personality is self-aware of how they project. This is psychology 101 shit.
but I can.
Most people are not adjusted enough to know how they project themselves, especially once we start getting into board game nerd culture.
I guess. Okay. Here. Oh, that's a good subject. If you're going to a competitive tournament, right? You know it's competitive. You have to know it's competitive. If you don't, then I have. If you know what the ultimate prize means, and that you know that people from outside of your local group,
you could not be more wrong, man.
was he going there?
Just the past two trials I've been to alone, I heard, because of my presence in the community, so people come talk to me privately, I heard about the hurt feelings people had in some kind of interaction. Why? Because it was typically a try-hard versus an enthusiast.
I get that. I understand that. And that's why I wish the store championships were brought back. This is a huge conversation is the difference between tryhards and I'm there to have fun. You know?
And when you put those two together, it gets tense.
Bad mesh. It is a bad mesh. But you know what? That person there that went to have fun did well. How quickly is it that he turns into a tryhard? Then he stays. I'm just doing this for fun.
That very thing happened to me. I'm in a matchup against one of my Padawans. I taught this guy the game, and we're playing the game, and he is beating the ever-living snot out of me. And I'm playing my little Vader, and I'm trying to figure out how to, like, okay, am I spending my force or am I spending my force, my focus token here? You know, that whole shenanigans you're trying to do when you got ATC and stuff like that. And I do something out of sequence where I just to get it out of my head, get out of the way, I just go, well, let's just go ahead and spend the focus token now. And then I went to go do another step. But if we were to follow the letter of the law, I did something out of sequence. And he stops and he goes, I'll allow it. And I looked up at him and I went, you'll allow what?
Cool.
And he then explains what I did. And I go, seriously? And I went, okay, whatever. And I go, I get his point, but I mean, come on, man. This is me. This is you. But here's what happened. We were both 3-1. This was going to determine who was 4-1, right? This is going to determine who's going to get dice and all that kind of stuff.
Big game.
Yeah. All right. So is Mark talking and he's muted?
No, he's just holding the microphone there.
I see him talking, but yet I don't hear anything by him.
I don't know. Mark.
No, I'm not talking at all.
Okay, weird. Okay.
Gordon's just crazy.
Sorry.
Stop eating those edibles.
So I'm sorry, Ryan, if I'm going on too much, I'll wrap this up. So then something happened.
Shit show, whatever.
Okay, so something happened, and it happened again. And I went, you know what? If we're going to be like letter of the law and then you're going to game the system to get an advantage of me to win because I missed some timing window, even though it would have been, I remember what it was. He had Magva, right? So I can only re-roll one die. And I was debating whether or not to spend my lock on Vader to re-roll 2 dice. And I forgot about Magva and I scooped the dice. And he goes, oh, nope, too bad. You only get to re-roll one of them and you just lost your lock. And I went, okay, if this is that important to you that you're not going to allow me to play at my optimum level, and I swear to God, Ryan, what went through my head right there and then was the match you and I had. I'm like, I want to play that kind of X-Wing. The game that I had against Ryan, I liked that game.
Oh, the one where I'm like, oh wait, no, this thing you need to take this into consideration.
Not only was that our match, but then when I watch you and Matt Erb that we had talked about, you guys are trying to tell each other the best moves, and you guys this was from the cut to advance, and I'm like, that's X-Wing to me. And instead, I'm getting a former pupil of mine giving me shit. And so I said, you know what? I just concede right here, because if this is that important, it's not that important to me. And if this means that much to you, I'm not going to have this come between us. I'd rather me just concede and you go on. And he actually stopped and took a breath and went, holy shit, you're right. I've become way too intense for this. And you're right. I need to kind of check myself. And the rest of the game, we had a ball. We had a great time.
All right. Quick consensus. I just want to yay or nay. Is fly casual from the hyperspace trial on up dead or not?
I fly casual every time.
You don't count.
You know what? I think Gordon brings up a good point in the fact that, like, I think fly casual is alive on the two ends of the spectrum. It's there.
You know what? That's fucking perfect.
It's there for, like, everyone that wants to be casual. They're 100% on a fly casual. And there's those middle people that are trying to break into the top, and they're being super serious about it. And then there's the top that already know everything's cool. They know all the other people. They're having fun anyway.
Ryan, I mean, not Ryan.
Ryan,
Coach,
Ryan.
Coach, you've never won a tournament, right? No, he totally nailed it.
I've never won anything.
Okay. Imagine you're in that moment where you could, whether it's something as understandable as winning your first set of dice, which is a very big deal.
Oh boy.
Or
Yes,
winning your first tournament. And you can, it's right there. You can taste it. Are you suddenly just going to check yourself at the door and just be all casual? Your personality may be taken on for a little bit of a ride in that moment.
Can I interject something here?
Yeah, I will shut up, please.
I had that moment just recently, and I saw that, you know, I was real close, and I was ahead on points, and the guy looked at me and he said, "You're running away, aren't you?" And I said, "Watch this. And please remember that I had the opportunity to go hide in a corner, but I'm staying here and we're engaging and we're playing this out to the end." And he went, "But I can beat you." And I said, "And if you beat me, you've earned it. But right now I'm winning. I'm not backing down. Let's keep playing." And I thought about that on the drive all the way home. You know, the smart thing for me to do would have been fly away and go hide in the corner and get my, you know, hopefully hit 16th and get my dice. And I didn't. I said, I didn't come here to go hide in the corner. I came here to play X-Wing.
Plenty of people do that. Here for doing that. That's great that you did.
I think.
Is it understandable if someone chooses not to do that? Can you see why they wouldn't?
Oh yes, no, 100%. I have been battling with that question for a long time, and to tell you the truth, at Adepticon it was answered. I played a gentleman, and I'm not going to name his name now, but he knows who he is, and we are actually very good friends now. We talk once in a while. He's got me on Facebook, so if he has a question or whatever, he's more than welcome to ask me. But I wanted to call him on slow play. He said he was a first player. He said all the things, and I totally I believe him that he was a first player. He brought 4 U-Wings versus my 3 Reapers and Vader and Adepticon. And we did the same thing where I think I got 5 engagements. He just moved. But then it was like wow, which dials this, which dials this, which dials this. And I think in that moment, I made up my mind where if I ever made it the world's top table and somebody did something where I caught, I was like, nope, you did that wrong. This is going to not benefit me. It's going to benefit you. That's the player I am. If I fucking make it to the world's final table, believe me, I could care shit if I fucking win or not.
But if would you run away or slow play or whatever if it meant it or petty rules lawyer to gain an advantage if it meant it got you to the final table or got you a world?
I will tell you right now, no player can answer that question until they're in that moment.
I think that is a correct answer.
No one can answer that question.
Yeah.
No one can hypothesize. Even Mark. Sorry, Mark. You pure as a wind-driven snow human being. You're in the finals and you see somebody fuck up. You see somebody fuck up and you're like, he didn't notice that. If I call him out, it's gonna hurt me. If I don't call him out, it's gonna hurt him. Kind of a thing. Now that's why we have judges watching the whole thing.
Mark, the reason why I said I'm lumping running for points and rules learning is because that is the example Mark just gave me. Uncle Mark just lifted that up. He didn't run away. Okay, he's talking. Okay, as far as relative to the topic, I am not equating that as an entirety.
I just wish there was a middle ground tournament structure for that FFG put in place. I just wish.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No. I was good because I was going to do a slightly different topic. So finish your point.
I just wish they didn't get rid of the store championships. Those were easy enough. I mean, the prizes weren't great, but it gave new players like, oh, I can play in my first like real tournament where there's a judge and there's prizes, but there aren't people gunning for a fucking world's championship. You know, those kind of things. I get that stores can hold their own things and they can do this and that, but I will tell you right now, as a store owner, when there's an FFG official product, that okay, they can win some templates, you know, or some range rulers. Cool. They can post that on Reddit and go, hey, I won my first tournament. This is the first tournament I ever went to. Instead of going, I went to my first hyperspace trial and I got my ass beat in. And my first opponent was a douchebag because he tried to tell me what I was doing wrong and he had better dice rolls, which, you know, if you look at his list, his dice rolls change hits to crits because he's running fucking whatever. Anyway, it's mute, but I just wish people would I don't know. The tournament structure is almost ruining and creating a better community at the same time.
Slight tangent. Part of why I went down the rabbit hole I did, because I think it's relevant at these same hyperspace trials. I pride myself on how I treat other people in a game. Doesn't mean I'm successful, but it is at least always my intent. And every time I have someone say that was a fun game, regardless of who won or lost, I'm like, okay, mission accomplished. That was my goal.
That's the reason before every game we shake hands, I say let's have fun.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, quick question, Gordon. Before every game, does the fact that you're a podcaster have any effect on how you treat that game?
No, because way too many people have no freaking clue who I am.
Okay, if way too many freaking people knew who you were, would that affect you on your game outcome?
It actually makes it harder for me, right? Because there's an expectation. It depends on who they are.
That's okay.
I mean, I've had that happen where it's like I've had that where it's like I'm really dialed in, I'm doing well, and then I come across someone and then they start making jokes with me and stuff like this, and I'm like, that's actually kind of taken away a little bit of my competitive edge because I've got a reputation for being a bit of a goofball, and this person would be very disappointed if this match wasn't the two of us together just being goofballs.
How does no one know who you are? How is that possible?
Most of the time, most people don't, because podcast listeners are very niche, dude.
There's no way you're
When
more
people
popular.
listen-
You're not more popular than I am.
There's okay, but
Jokingly, I say that.
but most people tend to not listen to podcasts.
Well,
So
listen to my podcast, but I know
Or
who
you
I
could
am.
be on a podcast and the first thing out of their mouth is, "What do I have to do to get a poker chip?"
not
You know,
all of
you
us are as
set
famous as
precedent.
you, sir. Right.
Mark set precedence. So.
Have you ever experienced the following? So based on that premise where I pride myself, like I'm going to make certain that we, have a good time. But that's my mindset. My mindset is like, what is our interaction like, regardless of the outcome of the match? And you succeed in that and you have a good game. And then you listen to your peers talk about how they had games against that very same opponent. And they say, man, that guy was a dick. You ever had that?
Yep.
And so now you sit there and think to yourself,
Yep.
were they?
Yep.
Who had the problem here? My buddy who just accused that guy of being a dick? Or was that guy, for whatever reason, just a real jerkwad with my friend, whereas in our game, he was fine? So where does the credit go? The fact that I made an effort to win that guy over in our game? So yay me? Or is that guy I just played to be blamed because for whatever reason he was a jerk to my friend? Is it my friend's fault because he didn't take the same philosophical approach to the game that I just did? Do you have any idea how many times I heard that in these past 2 trials where I would look at the person and go, what planet are you from? That guy's amazing. But I do not want to. But then again, was their approach first and foremost, like the main filter through which they applied everything, like the interaction with their opponent, and that's what matters? Or were they too focused on the game? And then now you start to have just personalities rub each other the wrong way, and then it just snowballs into the problem your buddy just had, and he's got to go to Reddit to cry it out.
It's a fickle bitch, is what it is.
Why is it I'm able to get along with everyone, and yet these people are having a hard time with them?
Again, the same thing. You got to look inward. Were you there to have a good time, or are they there to win?
I don't know.
I'm gonna go with the you're there to have a good time. At the same time, win, but you're also a member of the.
That's again most
whatever
of the time
we call this thing.
Most of the time
and
that
they're
didn't come
not.
up. I had interactions with people and they had no clue who I was. And I'll know that, right? Because I'll hand them a card, right? And it's got a little stay on target on the back of it. And they're like, what's this?
I feel like we need to make Gordon Berg shirts. I'm kind of famous.
Who showed me? You're acting as if my
famous.
Numbers are less than yours, sir.
Your numbers.
Show me the numbers you showed me.
You did. You gave me your numbers,
and they were more than yours.
Double.
That's right.
I'm not. Sorry, I'm a little more name renowned than you are, but more people listen to your shit than they do my shit. So, if anything, they should definitely listen to this episode. And in that wonderful wisdom that I have deemed necessary, I think we're going to end this podcast because it's 22. Good night, everyone. Thank you for watching.
I've already sent Montana the numbers.